down in the dirt.
You've done this before. It's not your first rodeo.
I've been involved with a lot of filming and stuff. So when, you just want things to go right, because I've got a really practical mind, Bruce. I just think that way. I've got like proper dad mind on and doing loads of events. So I think in a certain way.
I imagine, like, in the PR world now, in fact, let's crack on. Folks, this is Luke Brackenbury. Welcome to Bru Time, mate. I imagine
What's happening?
In the PR world, it's like herding cats, because that's what it's like when I do my tours. You know, people come on tour, and a lot of the time, people are just there to have a good time, aren't they? And I think because they know that myself and Si we sort everything out. So it's almost like they switch the brain off, and it's just like, right, just we have to herd everyone together, move them from one place to the next, to the next, to the next, you know, and it is like herding cats at times. And I imagine PR events can be like that.
Yeah, it's strange, like you say, about people turn their brains off. They go, right, I'm going somewhere, and you know, you call the PR dad or mum, whoever, and they go, right, do you know what? I'm just completely reliant on them to just tell me when to eat, where to eat, when to ride. It's really funny. But it's weird. I'm PR, but I'm still doing bike reviews. Obviously, I'm not riding and reviewing bikes that I'm helping to push, but I can't help switch off as I go into those. So I'm not like going, oh, I'll go there. I'm still doing all the thinking. I can't help it. But yeah, it's motorbikes they can be dangerous, can't they? And you need people to be on it. But it is so funny when you're trying to get groups of people to different countries and get them there on time, and they just all kind of common sense goes out the window. But some of it, I've worked, obviously I was my job at KTM, I was at KTM for many years, was a PR manager for Street. So I was hosting world launches, and some nationalities were definitely better than the others, and some,
Come on, there's stories to tell there, Luke. Come on,
absolutely.
You can't dangle that carrot.
Yeah, no, like the French for certain were the most chilled out. You'd be like, guys, we're going riding in a minute, and they wouldn't even be in their riding kit, and they'd be smoking. So cool and chilled out. I'm like, come on, we've got to keep to this schedule. And working with the Austrians, and they're brilliant, but they like a plan and they like a schedule.
Yeah.
They don't really took them years to kind of learn the way I work, which is to bend things to try and make it fit without breaking them. But they like a plan, and you stick to it and try and keep on the time. So it was an interesting working relationship.
Well, we're going to get into all that, but how about for anyone that's never heard of you, Luke? Can we go right back and just introduce yourself? How'd you get into bikes? What's brought you to where you are? And then we'll start delving into where you are now.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name's Luke Brackenbury. I'm 45 years old. I've been working in the motorcycle industry since 1998. And if you're watching this now, it's 2026. So a long time in bikes. And I got into motorcycles from, I grew up in the 80s, and every cool program had some sort of black vehicle that was helping to solve crimes. And Street Hawk was out. And I just thought, this dude, he gets to ride out of his warehouse on his 300 mile per hour turbo-driven missile-carrying bike. I need a bike. This is, as a young child, this is cool. Just imagine that. Just you launch out your building on that. My dad doesn't have a car license. He only rides. He's 73 now, I think, Dad. Sorry. And he so bikes have always been around, but he didn't ride very far. So he had like C90s and small capacity commuter. He's got a 390 Duke now, and I'm trying to get him on a maxi scooter. So bikes were always around. But then it wasn't till I think one of my best friends, he was really obsessed into racing. But we were on about getting a field bike between. I've got two best friends, and we're like, right, we can get this bike for 30 quid, a tenner each. I think we're at 14. I was like, yeah. So I spoke to my parents and said, look, we've got a chance to buy a field bike. a Yamaha V90. It was like a 2-stroke version of a C90, so underbone. And my parents were like, no, you're not getting one. So I was like, okay. And I'm not very good with no. I'm not very good with authority. So I bought it, but my ingenious plan to stash it in the back garden meant it didn't really remain hidden for very long. So we bought it and we went away and we had this bike, and we, as best as we could not kill it. We could not kill this thing. And we did all the things you shouldn't do, riding on the roads, 3s up, not even 2s up. God, I wheelied it into a pile of bricks and ripped the exhaust off. We were running it on 4-stroke oil when it was 2-stroke. And this thing refused to die. It's amazing. I need to get on. But and then one of my best friends introduced me to World Superbikes and racing, and obviously that was it was production based racing. And in the mid-90s, UK was sports bike crazy, in the 916 and ZX7RR and G6R and YZF 750, and him and his dad took me to Donington Park, and that was it. I was like, this is hooked. These road bikes, and you couldn't go to a bike meet without say bike meets. I didn't get too many of them, but just I remember in my local town, if we saw like a 916 or an R1, we'd just all be surrounding it. So yeah, when I was 16, I got an AR50, and then started riding on the road from there. That's kind of how bikes got into my life. But how I got into the industry was pretty much the story of my life, really. I'm not a clever guy, right? But I'm pretty confident. I don't know why, and I'm also pretty cheeky. And so when I was studying A-level photography and media at college, and I did all right at school, but I like doing things. That's my thing. I'm not into theory and studying. I like learning on the job. Anyway, part of the college course was to get work experience at a media-related company. And I was in college at Peterborough, and EMAP, as it was, it's Bauer. And now you had a lot of the motorbike magazines on the doorstep. So I wrote a letter to them, because it was, I think it was one email a bike magazine then. Anyway, I wrote a letter to Performance Bikes, Bike and Ride, and only Bike magazine replied and said, yes, we're happy to give you 2 weeks work experience. And I'll admit I was going because I wanted performance bikes, super bike, fast bikes, and performance bikes. Bike was kind of like an old man's mag, really, in a way. That's kind of what I perceived it when before I went there. Anyway, so I rocked up, for my work experience at the home of Performance Bikes, Ride and Bike. And Bruce, I could not believe that this was actually a job that grown-ups did. There was just a car park full of just bikes I'd only ever seen in magazines, and these guys, and they would just seem like they're having the best time. And they were, could smoke out the side of the office door. They were bringing motorbikes into the office. I just couldn't believe that this was actually a way to earn money and not grow up. And I was like, okay. And Bike had really crap work experience people, and I was just like doing everything. Like I just was like, I'm so keen. It was just, I loved writing and I love photography. I love bike. I thought this, I've got to. I can't believe this is a thing, and it's on my doorstep. This. Yeah. And anyway, 2.5 weeks into my 2-week work experience, they were like, "Aren't you supposed to be at college?" I was like, yeah, I just didn't want to go. I just not bothered turning up to college.
You just never left.
Yeah, it took them a few days to realise that I was still rocking up. And so I kept in touch with them, and a beautiful man, Steve Westlake, lovely guy. He offered me little bits of work to do, fairly mind-numbing tasks, but it was, they paid me and it kept me in touch. And then they offered me a picture researcher job, which was basically finding the pictures for the mag and fetching the bikes and just kind of doing donkey work. And check this out, Bruce. The offer, all right, was $6,000 a year, 4 days a week, right? So £500 a month. At the time, I owned my own Cinquecento Sport, and I still had the AR. I lived at home. I said, what am I going to do with all this money? But it gave me a day a week so I sent myself back to college to study journalism. So I paid for that course myself. And I thought, right, you know what? I deferred my university place, which I know how university would have gone for me. It would have gone in a very different way. I would have had a lot of fun for sure, but I don't think I'd have come out with it much apart from a lot of debt and some great stories. And so,
sounds familiar, actually.
Well, yeah. So, I thought, right, this is an opportunity. This is what I mean, when opportunities come, and this was a foot on the ladder. I thought, right, if I'm here and I take courses and I just absorb it and I just do as well as I can, and they would throw me bones. They would get me to write little bits, and they'd get me to write about and get opinion, and just attending like photo shoots and tracking driving, which what it's like, and just being around it and seeing how a magazine's run, and just so my university years were spent at Bike, and it was amazing. It was amazing. We had a big editorial team, big editorial budgets, and I progressed to staff writer, and then I went to Performance Bikes magazine, and EMAP had an internal Peterbolt scholarship, and I was selected to go on that. So I got even more training, and the Performance Bikes years were amazing. Again, Bike was brilliant because it's such a broad church. You get so much from a magazine. I think it's the best one out there still. If I'm gonna buy a magazine, to do a trip, going on holiday, that's the one you're gonna get so much from, from the world of motorcycling, and you can get great consumer advice from Ride pretty much every month. But if I'm that inspirational dreaming stuff and looking at bikes that you probably never would have looked at, I've got a really good story. You could probably go on to that in a minute, but that Bike was great for that. So yeah, but Performance Bikes was amazing. It was mad. It was mad. And I was, by that time, I moved on to PB in 2003, so I was 22. And I just,
how did that come about then? How did the move from Bike across to PB go?
It was down to Simon Hargreaves. He'd gone from Bike to edit Performance Bikes. He'd worked on there in the 90s, and he saw something in me, which I guess not many people did, and he gave me a chance, and kind of like nothing was off the table. The things we did, the features we did, and it was just really good years, Bruce. Just we had some hard times in that because we lost some good people, but to accidents. But as a young kid, it was amazing. And
just to interrupt, anyone I speak to who's ever been connected with Performance Bikes, from like the people who worked there to the people that used to read the mag, back in the day, everyone goes misty-eyed when they talk about it. It's like it was the golden age of biking in the UK.
Yeah. So
is that how it felt?
Yeah. It was. Well, I didn't look at me and the surrounding team, apart from Hargreaves, in that same way. If I go back to when I was doing the work experience, I wanted PB. I couldn't talk to those people. They were gods. They were gods in my world. I couldn't. I couldn't. I couldn't talk to them. And they were all brilliant. But I think they could see that out of me. PB was that. It was the writing, the riding, the technical point of it. It was just, I don't know. I guess it was more suited to my character. It's special, and obviously doesn't exist anymore. So, I was a small part in a small part of its time in life, but something I'm really proud of. And maybe some people look at that era of the magazine as being a bit, it was a bit lads maggy in some ways at that point. I couldn't take it back to show my nan because we had like Michelle Marsh in there with her.
Yeah. I remember, mate. I wasn't even riding bikes, and I loved that magazine.
It was, mate. We literally had some proper wild times.
I bet.
The road tests were, mate. It was, just got to. I was living my dream. So I was a young man. This is what I'd aspired to be, and then I was doing it. I was on the front cover of Performance Bikes. I was doing these road tests. I was riding these bikes, just beyond my dreams, and meeting glamour models, and just I used to write Shaky Burns monthly column. I'd ring him up and have this chat for hours, and there'd be so much that I just couldn't write. And I saw Shaky a couple of weeks ago, in the industry, see him all the time at the launch of the new Shoei Gallery, which was pretty cool. I was talking to Shaky. I was like, oh man, all those times, I couldn't print. Literally, it was not going to help him. It would, I don't know. Maybe I was being a bad journalist, but he was like, probably can't write about that. I'm like, no, I don't think we can. But I was still a fan, and I still am a fan. That was the thing. I've got to work, and I feel privileged. The people I've met, the people I've worked with, I've even raced against them. It's mad but it's not lost on me that, I'm name dropping, but McGuinness, I was doing some filming for him at the end of last year with Bennetts, and he's come and stay at my house. Didn't say, I guess he trusts me, respects me. I've known him, I've been in the game more or less as long as he's been pro, but I'm a fan, and I've stopped it now when I want a picture with them. And I didn't, because when you're working with people, it's just a different vibe. You don't, let's have a picture, or let's have, get a selfie or an autograph, because you're trying to do a job and you don't want to look like a fanboy.
Of course, yeah.
But I don't care now, Bruce. I don't care. Shaky had autograph cards. It's like, can you do me one of those? And he was like, really? I went, yeah. Mate, I grew up watching you in fast bikes doing insane things on bikes, and then seeing you be, successful BSB rider. I used to, write your column for you. Yeah, I want a picture, and I did the same with John, actually, after I stopped working at Bennetts. It's like, these are my heroes. It's not lost on me.
They're still icons, even though they're friends. They're still icons, aren't they? Yeah. This podcast is once again supported by Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel. Now, they are a biker's clothing shop built by bikers, run by bikers, for people who actually ride. No corporate nonsense, no guessing games, just riders who know their kit inside and out. Walk through the door or jump online and you'll get nothing but 5-star service. The kind where someone actually listens, knows the gear, and won't flog you rubbish just to make a sale. For an independent shop, the range punches well above its weight. Helmets, riding gear, casual wear, and the bits you didn't know you needed until a proper biker pointed them out. And if you're shopping online, here's the kicker. Use Fisters10. Yep, Fisters10 at checkout for a 10% off. Because good gear should come with a bit of respect. Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel, built by bikers, backing bikers.
I feel like I want to name drop, but I do a bit of indoor flat track, and there's a Peter Bose does, which is, I love going there. And he does a race between Christmas and New Year, and Chris Walker always comes, and he's still insane. He's so aggressive. He's such a hard rider. And waiting for the presentation at the end, and I just decided to do it this year on a Van 125, that completely uncompetitive and overweight. But I've been building it. I was like, I'll do it on the Van. It'll be a laugh. And Walker come to at the end of the day, and he's just saying, "Yeah, well done for you riding that bike." And I was like, "Yeah, we've made it hard for himself." And the guys I'm with are like, "I take it you know him." I'm like, "Yeah, I do." But he's giving me lifts. We've worked with him, but it's not lost on me that I was there.
It is.
When his Suzuki blew up at Donington Park, I was watching from Crane of Curves. I was gutted for him, so it's not lost on me, and it feels a privilege. I feel like I'm still in this industry I love, and I'm kind of getting away with it still. And I put that in the comments when you said you were doing it. So I'm a fan, and I was never motivated by money, which is obviously a good thing if you work in motorcycling. It's that you just go, this is a passion industry. This is the leisure industry, and I just enjoy it, and it's not lost on me the things I get to do. Still, this past week I've been in Spain riding for a manufacturer in beautiful weather. Had a track to myself on a very nice bike, which I'm not allowed to talk about. I just double checked before this call, and it was just like, man, I'm 45, and I'm riding for pictures and videos, and it's a skill. There's obviously loads more people quicker than me, but to work with the photo team, work with the video team, and to look good on a bike and still be quick enough. And I think, man, I'm so fortunate. Not lucky, because you make, lucky would be that someone just rang me up out of the blue to do that. Fortunate is because, the decisions I've made, the experience I've got, I guess the way I am means it puts me in those positions, but it's not lost on me. And going back to the performance bikes years, I always knew there was going to be something even more epic the next week. So I wasn't in the moment. And the part of, I guess, just growing up as I get, is that you go, be in the moment, be in now, be in today. And, and I am so much more present in those situations. I'm very excited about tonight to call me, even though I was late because I put it in my diary for the wrong time. I was excited about it because it's a privilege. It's a privilege. Well, if people want to listen to this, it's great. If you want to hear my story, it's a privilege. And I think that's what I love about motorcycle. It's the bikes, but the people. That's what keeps it. That's what I probably love most because none of these, we don't need these bikes, do they? They don't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone who rides is a little bit, and that mentality, we're all a little bit daft, and that's why you get so many interesting characters in bikes.
And it's all encompassing, isn't it? Bikes. It doesn't matter what sex you are, doesn't matter what part of society you come from, doesn't matter what job you do, where in the country you live, what fucking language you speak. None of that matters. If you've got a passion for bikes, whether you ride one or you just like the look of them. Yeah. Like, I've seen it traveling. You turn up on a bike and people just gravitate towards you. Well, they either look at you like you're a hooligan and steer clear, or they're like straight over and in love with the bike straight away, even if they don't know what it is. It's just like, wow, I've always wanted to ride, or my dad had one of these, or, it's just, it triggers something with people, doesn't it?
Can you think of anything else in the world that unites people that way? Like you said, it just crosses over sex, religion, race, whatever, because you can be, you've traveled more on a bike than I have. I've been around the world, but not the same way as you.
Been around the world, Luke.
Well, I was going to go on to that about how we first met, how long we've known each other. Yeah. Because I've been obviously thinking about that.
But that was 2010, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because
2010.
Because I was working with R&G and Pipeworks. So
Pipeworks.
But I was trying to remember how we started to. I don't know if it's on Facebook, because obviously this is a long time ago. But how I was trying to think how I got your story, because I was that's the fiance. That's just because I was captivated by what you were doing, and the fact that everyone else didn't think you could do it. I was like, yeah, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And if he doesn't do it, he's going to have the best time. And obviously your subframe and all that stuff that you found out the hard way. But so I got my clients. I did the best I could and tried to give you some more exposure. I think I might have
I've appreciated it. From that day, I've appreciated it. Yeah, and Shoei as well. I think you were the first person from the industry to reach out. Sure. Because everyone else, when I'd spent like a year at that point going around all the different bike shows and events and just going, look, I'm doing this trip. This is me. I'm going to go and do it. And it was just literally, all right. People just didn't take you seriously because everybody wanted to do it back in those days. Everyone was talking about the next long way round and all that sort of stuff. And I get it. But you reached out, and I really do appreciate that, man. That's not been lost on me.
Thank you.
But back to your question. I was gonna say sport, but that can be really divisive, obviously. Maybe music. Maybe music's probably the closest.
Definitely not sport, because that, look at football and what that does.
Yeah, it's tribal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tribal. Music, I don't think anything breaks down barriers. And if people in the comments will respond to that, I'd like to hear it. But it's weird. I've been helped out in all sorts of sticky situations, and I think because I'm on a bike and people know the hardships. You've ridden in the rain and cold, but they just want to help. And also the amount of times I help people on a bike. I've got a van and I shielded this young lass on L plates. She'd broken down by the side of the road, and my eldest rides, my youngest is going to ride. They're just, the community is brilliant, isn't it? It is just brilliant. And it's, people, but I don't know what it is. I guess it is just that passion. They don't make sense, and there are hardships with it. But I love it, the good thing about still working in the industry is you still meet more people, be it in the industry or other riders or whatever, and the stories they've got to tell and what's in their garage. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, do you find the industry's grown up from what it was back in those sort of days?
It's probably become more responsible. Even you think like, I don't know, I'm fairly good at stunt riding, but no one wants that. No one wants to show antisocial riding, and that's good, because bikes are dangerous. We're statistically awful, which is why the government makes it as difficult as they can for people to get on them. So I guess the industry's had to look at itself and go, okay, we know that the performance from even small capacity bikes is there, but we've got to the riding, the average rider, the demographic, it's not getting any younger. So therefore, showing kind of antisocial riding or over dynamic kind of riding, it's probably not needed, because I don't think that's inspiring younger people to get in. I don't think it maybe just makes the older riders feel, I don't know, intimidated, or that's how I'm supposed to be. Because growing up for me, that's, it's about being a racer on the road. It's about being knee down and how the magazines, particularly the sports orientated ones, were portraying it. But that's not needed now, because we've got to a point like, I can't believe I got this far. I can't believe I've survived. Let's just calm down a bit. But I was, from the industry, it's really weird. It'd be easy to criticize the industry, to say, do more, get more riders in, but it's hard. It's, I think Get On was successful. It was amazing to get all those people trying bikes for the first time. There's been various different schemes to try and encourage more people to ride. It's, what's inspiring a new wave of people to get on bikes is, obviously they're looking at changing the license structure, or CBTs. Now it's, I want more people to ride. My oldest, he's got a bike not because he's passionate about it. It's been around, he's grown up with it, but he's his own man. He likes to get where he wants to be on his time. That's why it's convenient while he learns to drive. But my youngest is a bit different. It's because he's been around me. But what's inspiring people who aren't growing up with a rider in the family to take to it, to what's inspiring them? They're heroes or whatever. They're not riding bikes, are they? What's on TV, film that's bikes?
I think that's a big part of it, isn't it? But for what got me into bikes was long way round. It was seeing Ewan and Charlie doing that trip and seeing what they achieved on bikes. That's what got me into it. But I'd always known about bikes because of the racing side of things. I wasn't an avid follower of bikes growing up. It was just, that looks cool, I quite fancy that. But I was told no, basically my mum and dad were like, no, it's not happening. So it just never happened. But it was what you could do, what it would allow you to do in terms of travel. It drew me. And that's what I try and do now, is pass that mantle on by going, just filming, going away on the tours and having fun with total random strangers a lot of the time, who then become mates, and it's just trying to promote that what's achievable on a bike, what a bike allows you to do. It's, yourself, it's so easy just to jump on the bike, pop across the channel, world's your lobster, isn't it? Yeah. It's just off you go. We're very fortunate.
It's always I suppose you've got to have that sort of mindset, be open, and it's, I just want more people to experience it. I mean, but there are reasons why people aren't, I guess. My fiance is a very senior nurse. She's seen the worst of bikes. She's not telling me not to do it. She accepts that it's my passion, but she's sort of saying she wants to go on the back this year, which is be a huge thing because she loves her hair as well. So I don't know. But I guess how's the industry growing up? I suppose we are seeing it shrinking. We're seeing dealers close regularly. I think dealers have got a lot to play, and this is probably controversial, but there's a lot of lazy dealers out there that think they're still waiting for the good old days when people are coming into the dealers. They've got to bring it.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you on that. Yeah,
and so that's not helping. And there's plenty, even where I live, there's places that they can put motorcycle. I've seen it. They scare them off, with young people who have bought a bike that's unreliable, and you got like a local dealer just putting them off and going, that's going to be expensive. It's biking's hard to navigate through, what to wear, where to go, and that's why the community is great. But I think I don't know if there was that one answer that would get more people into it. I suppose the MCIA would be doing that and working with the manufacturers and the rest of the industry. But we've got what's happening with internal combustion engines. What's going to happen with licensing? I don't know where it's going. So I'm just enjoying it and being in every moment and day and enjoying what motorcycling is. I guess we have these conversations. Like it's even difficult as a father to sort of motorcycling has given me my life, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's given me, it's shown me the world. I've met some amazing people. I've done things I never dreamed of, but my father wasn't pushing it to me. He didn't want me to buy that field bike. So like with my youngest, he's into it, but I guess I want it to really come from him, because it's that responsibility thing. Do I put him in the place of something that could hurt him? It's weird.
But then, I look back, I was late into biking. I was 32 when I passed my test. So I'm an adult. I'm a grown-up, allegedly.
Allegedly.
And I look back, and I was police trained. I was a police driver, all that, roadcraft, the whole shebang. I rode like a complete cockwomble when I look back at what I was maxing out chicks 1000s on the road. Ridiculous. Insane.
Yeah, you didn't
got
ease
away with
yourself
it.
into it, though, did you, Bruce, with what your bike choice?
No, I didn't. But I felt completely in control of that bike. I look back now and go, no, you weren't. You just got away with it, And as always, everyone always says, hindsight's 20/20, isn't it? I think you only develop this cautious approach, which we now have, this realization about the actual harsh realities of our passion. Once you experience that, once you start having those near misses, accidents, sadly, we've both experienced fatalities through people that on bikes. It's just part and parcel of it, isn't it? And I think as a youngster, when you first get into it, you're aware of it, but you're still full of piss and vinegar, aren't you? And it's like, yeah, I'm on the bikes, let's do it. I kind of think, don't take that away from people. It's just, you make that choice if you want to get into bikes. You've got to be aware that, yeah, it's a dangerous thing, but it's fucking amazing. It's like,
Bruce,
it's how you live.
How do you feel though when you open something like Instagram and you're seeing people in this country posting videos and of really, really dangerous riding?
Hate it.
I hate it. I
did it myself.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was my.
I didn't post that, but I've done it, and it's. Oh.
I'd be a massive hypocrite. I was photographed doing crossed at wheelies and balance point stoppies and rolling back all on the road. Need help. Anti-social riding. So I see this stuff and I think, I'm a father. Just if you're doing it, don't post it. It's a real hypocritical thing, and it just comes with time, I guess. Don't you? You go, wow, I've got this far, and some people haven't, and I've had those near misses, and there is more to life than two wheels and an engine, and there is. As much as I love it, this is not. I don't want to be remembered as a motorcyclist. I want to be remembered as a good dad, a good partner, a good friend. I think we just go, there's living is the best thing, and I want to enjoy my passion, but I want to enjoy it for a long time to come.
Yeah, I get you.
But it's it's just a rite of passage, isn't it? You're young and you want a sports bike because that's what you do. They're massively impractical, but you don't care, and you want to go fast because you can, and you just have to earn your spurs. I mean, how many people are on sports bikes on the Chicken Strips tours?
Hardly any, including me now. Exactly. But then you look. I mean, I'm going to go on about it. The big modern adventure bikes. In fact, just modern bikes. The performance you get out of a run-of-the-mill, like the Chinese bikes that you put me in contact with, you know, up the Voges and stuff. That is every bit as, well, it's not as powerful, is it, as, say, your Gixxers from back in the day. But they'll for road speeds, they'll do bloody well. You know, you can have a shit ton of fun on these bikes. So it's like,
and in comfort with heated grips on.
And yeah, but again, benefit of experience, isn't it? Because I didn't know any different. I'd always ridden sports bikes, so to me, they were comfortable.
Yeah,
Jumping on an adventure bike killed my back because all of a sudden I'm sat up. I was used to being hunched over. So it took a bit of time to get used to being sat upright. Now I get back on the Gixxer and it's like, how the hell did I do this? I'm a little bit more rotund than I was then, but, you know.
I don't remember the bars being so far away.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I can't breathe when I'm holding on to the handlebars.
But it used to, I suppose in a way it is, but like, you know, sports bikes had the best of the technology, the best suspension, best brakes, best whatever tires. But now, you know, okay, they're the flagship sports bikes, but you know, look what Ducati and BMW and KTM do with their adventure bikes. You know, they've got the best tech on, you know, rider safety aids. They've got all the performance still, and they're really comfortable. So
it's interesting what you say about the tech, because I jump on my Gixxer now, and that's a 2011 G6R1000. There's no technology on that. There's no traction control. There's no ABS. There's no heated grips. It's not even a digital. Well, there's a bit of a digital dash, but the Speedo's still a dash. Yeah, you know, and it's like, fucking hell. I jump on that, and you actually have to think about what you're doing, because you can't just snatch on the throttle like you can coming out a corner on the big tractor. You do that on the Gixxer, the back end sliding, you know, if it's in any way cold or wet. So it's actually, I find it quite engaging jumping on, I'm saying an old bike, but, you know, even a 2011.
Do you know what?
It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, like we've grown up through, at my age, I've grown up through a lot of changes in the world, but from a motorcycle point of view, you know, the amount of technology changes that have come, and I think it's for the better. You know, I used to get fed up of working Motorcycle Live when I was at KTM, and a lot of old boys, oh, you don't need all this electronic crap.
This is my traction control.
Yeah, and do you know what? There's no one can outbreak the ABS systems on the road.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are; they're amazing. So yeah, if I had to have just one piece of technology, ABS now is just so good. It saves lives. There's no doubt about it. But like a few sort of technical stories spring to mind. And I actually, you were there. Remember that RC390 Cup event?
Mate, that's the only launch I've ever done. Was that? That's the only launch I ever went to.
But you know, anyway, that was like, it was dreadful.
Yeah, but I get invited like on a Friday, and it's like on Monday we're going to Italy, and I'm like, I've got a tour. Sorry, can't make it.
To a bike, so you do it in your own way. It's the better way to do it these days. But you actually always said that you don't want to get the same stuff as everyone else, and you've always because you were
it's true. That is true.
Fairly early on the old vlogging game, weren't you? Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and you were pretty always like, I don't want to be around and just get the same stuff. So I always tried to get you.
You just don't want to be labelled as an influencer, mate. But I think I've come to the realisation, whether I hate it or not, that is kind of my job now, is to influence people. But I just don't want to be like everyone else, although I am. You know what I mean? It's difficult. Maybe there's a better term. I don't know, because there are those influencers out there, like, you don't want to be labelled the same as them, but you are in a position where you have an audience and you're talking, you're informing, and you're giving your impressions, and you're, you know, there's many ways to tell stories, from journalists writing in magazines to those who just give a little bit of awareness to a product or brand, or to people who do more in-depth, you know, road tests on videos. It's just different ways to influence, but you got to put it under one moniker. Anyway, what was going back to that event? The 390,
yeah, which was cold, and that's this track. But there was someone riding there who'd, I guess, was fairly late to bikes, but she had a bike with all the tech on it, and so she didn't really have, I guess, good throttle control, because she was used to TC and ABS helping her out, and she managed to high side all on those RC3, which takes some doing, don't they? Because they've not
Really?
Yeah, she knocked herself out on that event.
Jesus, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Well, we ran 2 groups, so maybe
Right.
different. I remember that because I had to take her and go to the hospital. But yeah, because she hadn't. I mean, she passed a test and got straight onto to bikes with good electronics. And then
Wow.
that RC390 didn't have any, but it also didn't have much power at all. But yeah, she high-sided herself into knockout land. And I guess, electronics can be, if you step backwards and then, go back into analog style, like you getting on your and going, oh yeah, I've got to really, this thing will lock.
You got to think about it.
Yeah. But
I remember that. I remember that 390 event because it was on a little go-kart track, wasn't it?
It was.
I remember turning up and thinking, is this what they're like? Like, is this what the launches are like? I was like, how the fuck do you ride a bike around here? And there were people spanking it, putting their knee down around this. And I could have just got off and pushed it around quicker.
Oh my God. I don't know if you still got them. Sorry, I'm full of cold.
No worries.
Right. Yeah, God, that was a funny event. That's not one of my standout glory moments. That was a rough and ready one, but it worked. Sort of. Not for one person.
So what? We've got on to PR. How did you make the move then from journalism with the magazines across into the PR world? This episode is supported by Super Shield Auto. Super Shield Automotive provide the very best service in detailing, paint correction and ceramic coating of your pride and joy. They can also supply and fit products from many suppliers such as Chiggy, Akropovich, Hex, Denali, Visor and many more. Get in touch for details and don't forget to mention TeapotOne for a discount. That's supershieldauto.co.uk. If you love being around bikes and cars, then they are looking for someone to join them full time. Full training's given and a van is provided. Get in touch at info@supershieldauto.co.uk for more details.
Well, I'd done 7 years on the Max. I'd gone from bike to performance bikes. And I went back to bike, and that's when I worked with Simon Weir, your touring partner, and I learned a lot from him, from a production editor style.
Could you understand anything he says? I still struggle now. Me, the 6th Earl of Windsor, with my reputation.
He's a lovely man. Oh, weirdo.
He's Rain Man. He is Rain Man, isn't he? I keep saying to him, I'm a good driver. That's him to a T about routes. The man has an incredible mind for roads. Anywhere on the planet, he'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, he works well for the tours.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I've got a lot of time for him.
Yeah, he's lovely.
I went back to bike, and I started racing as well. And I did a right at racing pretty quick. And I didn't want to ride on the road. I was getting such intense kind of riding hit at club racing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a back at bike. I get long term with some bikes I didn't want. PB, I was getting stuff that I wanted. I got an ER6F and a 1 year, which is a great kind of not beginner bike, but it wasn't suited to my riding. And then I got a CB 1300S, which is when you've given up on sports bikes and you want something comfortable. Again, a nice bike, but I was like, I'm in my 20s, so I got the 40s.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so I was racing. I wasn't asked about really riding on the road anymore, and I got really complacent, Bruce. Bike was just absolutely rammed with talent then. It's brilliant writers, way better than me, and I was just sort of treading water. I think I'd got a bit arrogant. I got lazy, and I wasn't enjoying it as much. That's the thing. I'd only ever dreamed about working on the mags, and I achieved it really quickly. And then I was doing these amazing things, and racing changed me as a person anyway. Once you've raced and sat on the start line, just how you approach life. I didn't. I got into the sort of national level BSB support class. I started too late, but I knew my limits. But it changes how you look at life, and I don't know. I just wasn't I was just coasting, and everyone was saying, "Oh, you'd be great in PR. You'd be great in PR." And yeah, I felt kind of out my depth on bike on that second time round, because there was just some amazingly talented riders there, and I was just, I'd come from, PB, where I don't know, it wasn't as I guess as sophisticated as what bike was at, and I don't think I'd fit, and I was in a funny place, and I was ready for a move, and everyone said you'd be great in PR, because I always built up really good relationships within the industry, and I thought, well, I think by then I was earning like 16, 17 grand a year. Right? I was in mid 20s. I got a flat, I was spending what I could on racing. And everyone said, go to PR, you earn more money. I thought, well, do you know what? I can always come back to bikes. I had offers to go to another magazine outside of EMAP. And it was weird. So at this time, I had a chance to go to another mag. I was being lined up to do the PR job for Rizla Suzuki in what would be the first year of the 800s.
Wow.
2007. Or there was a chance to go to this agency. And the offer on the table for Rizla was great. It was really good. And it was looking good. And then, so I sort of, I knew I didn't want to go to this other mag, really. It was my third option. But I really wanted the MotoGP job. A former colleague, Steve, he'd gone to Repsol Honda to do PR. And I was like, yeah, I want to do this. Single man. Brilliant. And at the last minute, the team that ran it wanted me, but the Japanese bosses wanted someone else. And I didn't go. So I took the fallback option, and which was cool, because I ended up going to work for an agency and build up they were based in Kingston-upon-Thames, and build up their bike side of things. And it went really well. And it was weird sort of going back to EMAP for meetings. And at that same time, that's when the mag world started to, change quite a bit, with certainly how EMAP that then became Bauer operated. And I got into the PR.
Well, even back then, sort of 2007, 2008 time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, EMAP sold to Bauer, and then they started to change how they made the mag. They started doing with hubs, so sort of responsibilities were sort of in a hub model, and shared across the titles for just. So you've gone from these really individual teams, all in a big office, but this was your mag, your team, try and keep your secrets, to kind of sharing the resource.
Right, okay, I get you now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of cracked on with the PR job, and it was again just. I moved out of Peterborough. I was living out of London. It was exciting, and I learned more skills. And it was great. It wasn't definitely not the same, but the money was way better straight away. Like just way better. But at the same time, it was not as exciting. I guess I was feeling like I needed to grow up and do something different, not just the fact I literally got out of bed, rolled out of college onto the mags. I felt like I was taking myself out of my comfort. I was, staying in a mate's spare room, the tiniest room. The room was so small. I'd got a child's extendable bed from IKEA. Fortunately, I was not a very tall person anyway, but just was along for the ride. I'd seen my dad. My dad worked over 40 years in a brickyard, week of days, week of nights, dirty, dusty, noisy, and maybe he thought that was just the best he could do. And I grew up. We always had food on the table, warm house. He did the best he could, but it always inspired me to go. I don't want to do something that I don't enjoy. I don't want to. It's not money. Has never been the key for me. It's when I lost a good mate on performance bikes, and he was 32, 33 at the time. You just thought, I don't know how long we're here for, and I just want to enjoy. I really just want to enjoy life, and I find pleasure in something every day. Me and my partner would always say, "What's been the best thing about your day?" And that's always been my motivation. Just keep doing stuff that you enjoy, because things can change pretty quickly. And so I went into PR, and it was, not the same, but I could tell I was good at it. And not being arrogant, I just thought it seemed a natural fit. It's fine. A lot of the skills cross over: writing, networking, bringing people together, events, and that was cool. And I went on from there to something else that didn't work out, and then that prompted me to start working for myself. And by then, I'd got married, I'd got a young family, and so I had to make it work. And I was doing events, I was doing freelance writing, because freelancing was all right then. Actually, you could still get paid all right. There was, and then I'd always been knocking on the door of KTM, even when I was at this agency before, because I could tell there was so much untapped potential. They were the brand that wasn't pushing it hard enough, really. And all my knocking on the door, I remember going to the MCN London bike show, rest in peace, with my heavily pregnant ex-wife, with my second child. And I bumped into the MD of KTM UK and went, "Oh, I'm glad I've seen you. Want you to pitch for some PR work." And from the very first KTM launch, I went as a bike journalist. I was in love with that brand, because it wasn't marketing BS. The people, everything,
there's something about those bikes, isn't there? I mean, it grabbed me. It's just, that's my bike, but it's just, sadly, it's just the reliability. It's the package for me at the moment. But that is my bike. I love it.
Me, I bleed orange, Bruce. It's orange stuff all over. My hard drives are orange. My helmet's always painted orange. But So then I pitched for the work, which was cross between UK and Austria on street topics. So this is at the time when they'd got the Bajaj relationship. It's a very big relationship now, and with the 125 Dukes and the 390s and 200s, and pushing with 1190 Adventure. And so they were really stepping up on the street, and I got that work, and oh my word, just like there couldn't have been a better match in terms of me and how I am and KTM. And I spent nearly 10 years working with them, and the last 3 years were, so I was always worked for myself, but I was like a full-time freelancer. So I had other clients, and it was difficult trying to manage people and other clients, and people that had, companies that had taken their chance on me and allowed me to get into this position where I was, with KTM. And the last 3 years I was PR manager for Street Topics Global. I was in situations where I'm on the stage presenting bikes to the world's media and just thinking, I can't believe that I'm the person doing this. I'm a not very well educated man from the Peterborough area, and I'm representing KTM to announce, and showcase these models, be it from the world trade events like EICMA to press launches around the world. And it was, I couldn't.
So you had imposter syndrome?
Yeah, massively. But you have to kind of go, well, I must be here for a reason. And I was watching a video from the 2017, just a Facebook memory come up, 2017 790 Duke launch, and that was a big pressure job. But I looked at that, and everything, it was a team effort. But the fact I was able to put my ideas and influence into events like that, it just was amazing. I loved it. And that was an honor. It was really an honor to represent that brand at that time and do those crazy events. And once me and the Austrians found a good way of working with their kind of like, this is the list, this is the time scale, and my way of, but we could do it like this, and like rule bending, and we found a good way, and we did some amazing things. And it's, do you know what? I was thinking, I'm going to go to Salzburg because there's another company I want to go and meet up with. I did a bit of work with at the end of last year, another Chinese brand, and they've got offices in Salzburg. I was like, right, do you know what? I want to go and see them, and then I'll go to Mattighoff, and I'll go to KTM.
Just pop in, say hello.
I don't know who I'd be seeing there because I don't.
Oh wow!
yeah, there's hardly anybody that I used to work with there. And I bear in mind I left at the start of 2019. And it
Wow.
is, yeah, it's what's happened there is shocking, because they are on such a good thing. And I've got my predictions to how that goes. Yeah, there's barely anybody there that works there now.
So, are you enjoying the podcast? If you are, please let everyone you know about it. Sharing at the moment is the biggest trigger for the algorithm. Obviously, you need to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. But if you can just tell one mate about the podcast, share it across to them, that helps tenfold. I love doing the podcast. I'm really trying to grow it this year, and you can help me out by doing that. So I'll love you forever if you do. Whilst I'm on the topic of support, folks, the only reason I can do the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything like that full time is because of my Patreon. In the clan itself, we do meetups, we do live streams. You'll get early access to the vids. You get first choice on the questions on this podcast. And you'll also get exclusive early access to my chicken strips tours when they're released. If you want to check it out, head to patreon.com/TeapotOne. And if there's anything there that takes your fancy, feel free to support me over on there. Do you want, I mean, if you don't need to, if you, I understand, you need to maybe hold things close to your chest, but, can you elaborate? How do you think the KTM situation goes out?
To Bruce, I left in 2019 at my choice, right? The schedule and the amount of new products they were smashing through. I remember you'd sit in the meetings with the global marketing team and you'd see what was forecast for the next, the 2 to 3, 5 year plan, and you're like what? How? Wow! But how? How are they going to do this with the size of the teams they've got, and how are they doing it so quick? I just wanted them to roll the gas a little bit and go, maybe this product could do with another year of R&D, or they were just, their ambition was insane, which is great. But I don't know, maybe this is why I'm not a businessman. Like I said, I'm not money on tape. I'd be at this point going, we've got a really good thing going on. We've got so much in that area of Austria. They've got so much, it's generating so much work for the money for the local economy globally, as well as that. They had a great thing. I think they just got too ambitious. I would say too greedy, and I guess that is business, isn't it? To just keep setting new targets, but they made some really bad decisions. And I was thinking about this earlier. I think this might be controversial, but the board of directors was a complete sausage fest, just dudes. And I think that if they'd changed it up a little bit, now it's different. There's women on the board, a different mindset, but it was a sausage fest of real kind of arrogance, ego,
Well, it's kind of the brand, though, wasn't it? It was the brand, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose then you just want to protect it. And it's not just about protecting the brand. It's the people who have up sticks from around the world to make home in Austria. Yeah. I couldn't go further with KTM because I didn't want to move to Austria. I had a failed marriage and 2 young sons. That was, all part of, I was traveling constantly. But you don't want things, I don't know, as you get older, you don't want things to change. You want things to stay good. You want all those people to continue to live there and the life they've made, and the local businesses and hotels and restaurants that you've all become friendly with because you've been staying there so much, that maybe aren't going to have that level of custom. It's a shame. KTM has had a checkered past, and I'm sure with Bajaj they'll continue, but my personal opinion is that you won't see a lot coming out of Matikov, and I think you'll see motocross and enduro bikes. They'll go back to how they were, and everything else will be built around the rest of the world. And that'll be that. I think it's, but like you say, the product's amazing. That whole attitude, it really resonates with me, resonates with you. So I'm always sympathetic to them. I'm always got a soft spot for them, and I want to see it do well. And it's not just the brand; it's the people. But God, every time I open LinkedIn, Bruce, there's another one gone. And they do it so well. Oh, my time at KTM's come. It's time for a new challenge. You're like,
I can't do LinkedIn, mate. I just can't do it. It's just all politically correct business speech. I'm like,
do you know what it is?
Say what you think. Just say what you think.
It used to be LinkedIn is everyone on AirPods, which I didn't want to do tonight, even though the sound quality is so good. I know, but yeah, yours is covered up by your beard. But like, but guys, now it's everyone holding these DJI make amazing mics. Yeah. Everyone feels the need to hold the damn things. So yeah, if you work out there and as an influencer and you hold a DJI mic, I won't work with you and I won't send you back. They're for clipping
God,
on.
I think I do when I'm on my tours. I get lazy because I just use my phone. But obviously, if it's windy in any shape or form, the audio is shite, isn't it? So like, I've got the old Pocket 3 and a little mic.
They put the dead cat on it, and you put it there. And it's amazing.
Oh yeah, I know. But like, what I'm saying is, on the tours, I get really lazy, so I'm just like, I'm using my phone to film a lot of the time when I'm off the bike. But if it's windy, the audio on that's terrible. So I'll use my Pocket 3 with the mic, and I've got the dead cat on that. But I'm the same, because I'm like, I'll hold the mic here when I chat, and then I'll whack that in someone's face and go, right, talk, you know? Yeah. And most people just go, don't want to speak.
Well, we're going to have to end this call now. I'm just pouring myself a Heineken Zero.
Good effort. I opened my beer fridge in the garage, and I've got a shed load of alcohol-free beer in there. And I was like, where's this come from? But we had a big barbecue last year for my wife's 50th. And there's still loads of alcohol-free beer left.
Should you have revealed that number?
Oh, my wife doesn't care. She doesn't care. She's not fussed about that.
I don't drink alcohol, so I'm always just trying different zeros. So
yeah, gotcha. Some of it's pretty good, isn't it? Like the Guinness Zero's
Guinness Zero is absolutely best. But a friend of mine is just starting up a 0% beer brand called Road Legal. I just had a meeting with him today. What he's got planned, it's really cool because I don't know, I get more abuse because I don't eat meat, I eat fish, than I do for drinking zero beer. I'm the most consistent I've ever been. I don't try and be in people's face about it. That's a choice I've made, and I like consistency. I'm a rubbish drunk. I'm a lightweight. It's not like exactly lacking confidence anyway. So yeah, I just don't drink. Sorry, yeah. So we were KTM. So yeah, KTM. Love them. Got loads of time for them. But yeah, it's tough to see that the change because they were smashing it. But yeah, maybe if it was. Maybe it wasn't such a sausage fest at the top, they might have maybe made some different decisions. But like I say, that was the brand they always had big targets in mind. They really, where they wanted to be. So, that's big business, isn't it? You just don't rest on your laurels, even though I guess that's the difference for me going, you're really onto a good thing here. Just, the dealership, just get the quality bang on a bit.
Yeah, you've got to constantly innovate, haven't you? Like in any form of business, whether it's, whether you're self-employed at the bottom level, like kind of where I am, right through to conglomerate multinational corporations, you've got to constantly strive and innovate and keep trying new things. But I think, you're right. You've got to sort the basics out, haven't you? You've got to make sure the lights can be kept on, all that sort of malarkey.
It's the balance, isn't it? Yeah, you can't. But
difficult.
What's
Mate, I should have asked at the start. How long have you got? Because I don't want to take up your whole night if you've got stuff to do.
Youngest, he's eaten. Janine's called me to say,
where are you? You should be picking me up.
No, she's coming in. She knows what I'm doing. So, No,
where are we?
It's 8:15. So, yeah, sure. I guess as long as it's still interesting.
100%. How about we start tackling some of the questions from the various social media platforms? Before we do that, I have a new thing I do now, and I've got a question that I pose to everybody. That one is, I describe Bru Time as a relaxed conversation podcast exploring what it really means to live your life through honest conversations with people who choose more. When you hear that, what does choosing more mean to you? That's
a very, very good question. Choosing more.
Thanks. ChatGPT came up with that.
Thank you, ChatGPT. I love AI. Choosing more, yeah, I guess, yeah, it comes back to that. Like I was saying, I don't settle. I don't believe that I've tried all the best 0% beers. I've gone to all the best places in the world. I've ridden all the best bikes. So choosing more for me is to not stand still. Appreciate the things that really make your world and make you smile, but also don't stop looking for those other opportunities and experiences. And that's for me, this life, this is the greatest gift. I'm in this moment chatting to you. I'm very excited about that. And so for me, it's just to be inquisitive and keep trying different things. I want more. I'm greedy. I'm greedy for life. I want to ride more bikes. I want to meet more people, and I want to do more things. I don't just want to do the same things I've always done because that's safe. And we're all different people. But for me, I guess I'd be gutted if I didn't take those opportunities and tried visiting that different place, because I don't go on holiday to the same place all the time. You can go somewhere and have a brilliant time, and my kids will be like, let's go there again. I'm like, we'll just try and compare it to the last time we were there, but we don't know if we go here, we could have that next amazing opportunity. Or if we, I do a tour with a bunch of lads on small bikes, and we never just do the same thing. We start at the same place, but you got to make new experiences.
I love that. You've got right in. Sorry to interrupt. Apologies. Sorry. You haven't finished.
So that's what more means to me. It's just you've not covered every stone. So
I love that. Is this a new thing? This sort of love of small CC bikes? Because you always seem to be doing crazy events, races, trips on small CC bikes.
I suppose it comes back to how you started, like field bikes. I was telling you about earlier, and your first road bike. Was when you tuned it. Your tuning was measured not in bhp but in miles per hour. And there's I guess maybe it's nostalgia a little bit, but there's something very immature and daft, and it's not so serious with small bikes. Of course, you can obviously still get hurt, but it's when you're getting on a R9 and you're suiting up, it's a mindset different thing. But when you're slinging your leg over an underbone semi-automatic Honda Wave, it's just funny because I can go and ride. I'm very fortunate in the access to bikes I've got, but buying these ex-London kind of smashed up bikes, fixing them, and then going to ride with a bunch of other idiots, it's great. I think it's just immature. And if you've the guys I do this and stuff with, they've raced, they've had all the some of them got the big bikes still, but it's just, I guess it just takes you back to just when you were young, I suppose, a bit of immaturity, and there's not a lot of money tied up into these bikes. They're just funny because it's not a dick waving competition. It's
it takes out all the bravado out of it, doesn't it? It doesn't take the competition out because everything's still a race, isn't it? I find it more of a race when you've got a load of you on little bikes. It's just like everyone has to wring the neck of the thing. Just like sometimes me on a 125, just to get it to 30, 35 mile an hour, I'm wringing the neck of the bloody thing.
Well, we're talking about something with that, aren't we? We've got some.
Yeah, mate. I'm well up for that.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait. So I think there's the racing side with the small bikes, which is ultra competitive, but it's also just funny as hell. It's proper belly laugh stuff. And then the tour stuff is just you can talk because the bikes are so slow. You can talk whilst doing it, and you just, I don't know. It's the common platform, but it's the mindset of the people involved, and I don't know why that excites me more. I suppose because in the industry, even though small capacity bikes are the real backbone of it, from a job point of view, people are less interested in it. And like some of the brands I look after now, that their small capacity stuff will outsell the big stuff, and it's really, really interesting. So I don't know. I don't know. It's really hard to say. I just find it funny. I like from buying the bikes and doing it. They take a lot less space and they're easy to move around and parts cheap. But I think there is just that they're less serious, I suppose, and It's just a giggle. I've got so many bikes, Bruce, and there's hardly anyone with them. My bike collection is the most. People ask me that. I'm like, I haven't really got a good bike. I mean, I own them all. I've got loads, but they're all a bit crap because I don't really need to have nice bikes because I've got them all the time. I'm very fortunate in that. So it means I can just have a load of crap.
I've said this so many times. I think the most fun I've ever had on a bike was when I did this thing called the Big Little Adventure with another YouTuber, Mr. Fish, and we met up with Richie Vida. Sorry, I call him Dickie Vegas. With Richie Vida up north. So myself and Fish, he owns a little Honda Cub. And he was like, he's a tube driver. And he was like, I've got some time off. I want to head away on the bike. I think he was talking about going to Wales or something. Can you recommend any places? And I was like, fuck it, I was chatting with Sinus, doing some stuff with Sinus at the time. So I was like, let me see if I can get a 125 and we'll go. Let's just go away for the weekend. So we put a plan together, and then we end up getting Dickie Vegas involved. And he was like, come up to the lake, to the Peak District. I'll get something, and we'll go around the peaks. So it just turned into this like 1,000 odd miles in 3 days on these or 4 days on these little 125s. I didn't stop laughing like a little girl from the moment we set off to the moment I got home.
And then the fuel bill is tiny as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And you've got no worries about getting a speeding ticket, maybe in these fucking 20s. But, it was just so much fun. And I came away from that thinking, this is the saviour of the bike industry, but in the UK, it's like, why aren't people on these things having fun? Because you can ride like a cock and really not be in too much bother.
Yeah. When you flat stick in top gear for ages, but you're still under the speed limit, it's still got a rush of like, I'm flat out.
And every overtake is like a major event, isn't it? It's like, oh,
I'm so far ahead. Yeah. Exactly. Well, look, you need to come join our tour. It's I do. It just it comes down to it again though. It's the people. It's still the people, and it's the common platform is the bikes. But take a lot of the. I wouldn't do it. I don't like group riding, honestly. But apart from on the small bikes, because no one rides like I do really on the road. There's only a few people I've met coming from the old school journo way of the way we can ride. It's very unlike ROSPA trained or police trained or normal people. It's being brought up on other people's bikes and fuel and speeds. And just having to get to places. It's a mad way. So I don't like group riding apart from when I'm on the small bikes. So that's because I just ride. Really, if I'm riding on anything big, it's for work. I don't go. I'm going out for a Sunday ride. That doesn't happen for me because I would ride so much in the week for work or to get to places. I never go for a blast because I test a bike. I'll ride in a different way and to review it. So I never just ride now for the hell of it.
That's interesting. That I got in a weird place about a year ago, I suppose, maybe just over a year ago, where it really did feel like the fun had gone out of. I turned my passion into my job.
Yeah,
and it just sort of snuck up on me all of a sudden, where it wasn't an enjoyment thing. It was like, I have to go and do this. I have to go and do that. I've got to film this. Now I've got to edit that. And it was like the fun had gone, and
I know.
It really got me down. And my wife was really conscious about it. She was like, you don't just go out for a ride now. It's like, just go for a ride. Don't take cameras. Just go for a ride. So I did that a couple of times. And then what I realized was I actually enjoy filming. I enjoy the process of talking shit on the camera and just vlogging away. That's kind of why I got into it, because it's almost like therapy. You're just chatting away bollocks, aren't you?
You've been doing that for a long time, and you're the first I knew doing that and doing it well. So, break it down to what it is you enjoy. And so for me, it's not about going fast on the road. Again, it's the people, it's the scenario. So I stepped out of motorcycling for a year, a couple of years ago, because I was just done with it. Just done.
Wow.
Yeah, and but like most people who walk away from something for a bit, and just to go, yeah, if your passion and your hobby has been your career for so long, you do have to have a break from things. And yeah, I came out I love the industry. The industry's given me so much, and I came out of it, and I missed it. And the good thing about it is it hadn't really changed in a year. So good, it recharged me. But yeah, I think I get a lot of pleasure out of working on bikes as well. But I'm going to start track riding again. I sold my track bike to help pay for a family holiday because I was worried that I was going to want to start racing again. Now I'm thinking about maybe starting do another race. I don't know. The kids are getting a bit older. It's a well-trodden story. I don't know. It's I certainly will.
But it's there. If you're thinking about it, it's going to happen.
I know it's there, and it's just this house I'm in is sold. It's going through, and my partner and I are moving in together. And we just lost out on basically my dream garage with a house attached to it. So I'm pretty sorry about that. So I like there's all good stuff. My life is really great, and I think, yeah, why not mess it up a little bit and start racing? which anybody who races knows is the biggest time and money pit going, not matter what class you do. So, but it's I'm doing it again, to be fair.
And everyone gets into it going, no, it's just going to be fun. I'm not going to be spending loads of money. My mates did that. I think the third season, they entered the No Limits. What was it? The No Limits Cup or Rookie Cup or whatever it was. It's just the amateur thing. I think the third season, there was 3 of them in a team. Third season, they all end up buying, I think they were like race spec Kawasaki's. They end up spending like 30 odd grand on these basic race bikes. Yeah. And then it was just like, what are you doing? It's insane. And then they all started crashing and smashing themselves up.
Now they ride, let me guess, they ride mopeds on the road.
Yeah, they stopped racing because I think it literally got to the point where it was costing so much money. It was like, right, this is going to be a divorce as well as the cost of racing. I better ease back.
I genuinely would do it again to enjoy it because when I did it before, I did all right at a club level straight away, and I just took it too seriously. I only I'd be in the van on the way home, and I'd just go, "Oh, yeah, that was all right." And actually, the camaraderie in the pits was actually the best thing. Yeah. So I think, I don't know, life's in a funny way at the moment. The kids are starting to need me less at the weekends, and but then again, I enjoy doing a lot of stuff with my partner. We stand up paddleboard. We've got a motorhome. So I don't know. I love bikes.
It's not racing though, is it, Luke? It's not racing.
I know.
And you said I did all right. Were you not like early or stock champion or something?
Yeah. You
did all right. It was like a champion sat there.
I won a championship and I finished second and third in a couple of others. Yeah, well, if you got, do you want to hear a story, a racing story?
Yeah, come on. We're always up for stories.
So when I was at Performance Bikes in 2004, my long-term, you get these things called long-termers, which is basically a bike you've got to test for most of the year. And at 23 years old, I was given ZX10, the first the ZX10 all black, which was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous bike. It was so much fun. But the chap I worked with, Mike Armitage, who's now the editor of Classic Bike magazine, he told me about the road stocks class where it literally was about taping up your lights. It was within EMRA. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea. I thought, if I ask Kawasaki if I can race this bike.
What, your long-termer?
Yeah, they could say no. So I'm not going to ask them. So I'd written a feature on a couple of guys that they were just nuts on the road and they had to go into racing. Otherwise they were going to die or just be banged up. And I'd written a story about them for PB and their bike's pretty trick. And they said, yeah, come do road stocks. We'll help you in that. And so the ZX10 and got an aftermarket fairing on it and some decent tyres and that. And I was very excited about it. And I failed scrutineering because the bike had the stock brake lines that were on that then. It had a line that went to one caliper and then over the mudguard.
Oh, yeah.
Which you can't allow because if you lose your mudguard or whatever, it splits your lines, you're in trouble. It has to be. So I was freaking out because I didn't have any different brake lines and nor the tools to bleed it up. And I'd got new brake pads to bed in, new tires. And anyway, the camaraderie, the first racing, and people in the paddock didn't want to see me, regardless if I was a PB journo or anybody, they didn't want to see me not get to race.
Yeah.
So there's always a shop there. I think Rod Harwin Racing got some brake lines and pleaded with the organisers to get me dispensation to do a lap, just so I could scrub in everything that needed scrubbing in. And so I got out there and I did an out lap, did a fast lap, come in. I was like, oh, okay, brilliant. And did my first race, finished 6th. I thought, oh, okay, that's good. Did my next race, finished 4th. I was like, okay. And I got the last race of the day and I was in 3rd position. Couldn't catch 2nd. 4th was way behind me. This is at Mallory Park. And like, a load of the lads from the mag were on the start finish straight, my then girlfriend and mate. I was like, oh, well, let's have it. So I did this, I wheelied the whole straight past the checker. I'd grown up watching racing, that's what you did. Went round the rods, did a big stand-up wheelie into a rolling stoppie. I was like, come into the paddock, took my helmet off. Luke Brackenbury come to race control. I was like, man, that's awesome. They already called me up to get my trophy. So I go up to race control. No, they weren't. It wasn't about trophies, Bruce. They were so mad at me for my flamboyant actions that they were going to ban me, fine me £500, and take my license off me. I went, what? I'm a magazine journal. I'm here to write a story about getting to racing, and I've grown up watching racing, and that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Good result. And this guy was, he was going mad at me, and we got it in the end. So they basically disqualified me from the meeting, so I didn't get my trophy. I was disqualified from my first ever race. I mean, I should have a trophy for the wheelies. They were waiting.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, that was my. I thought, yeah, I'm into this racing, Mark.
I quite like this.
I went back.
You're such a bad boy, Luke. You're such a bad boy.
I went back to the next round and got some trophies, and then Kawasaki found out, and they weren't very happy that I'd raced the bike. So
it's a bit old-fashioned attitude of theirs, isn't it? God, not very forward-thinking.
No. Anyway, we've gone off. What else do you want to ask me?
Right, okay, let's start some questions then. So this is from the clan over on patreon.com. It's patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one, Kevin Corbett. Evening, gents. What's that?
Who the hell is this man?
No. Genuinely love the podcast, pal. Hope you and Luke are doing well. My question is to both of you. You both have ridden multiple types of bikes, each built for a totally different type of discipline, track, dirt, etc. What is it about a bike that when you sit on and ride gives you the feeling I'm going to connect with this bike or I'm not?
Ooh. Do you want to go first, or do you?
No, I'd like the professional to give their opinion.
There's lots of things. That's the thing about life in the world, that we all like different things for different reasons. I suppose when you get on a bike, it's that, does it feel right? And for me, ergonomics, just there's a lot of adjustability on most bikes, sweeping the bars, how high the levers are, can I adjust the levers to fit them? So you kind of get on there before you even thumb the starter. You're just kind of on there for me going, okay, I'm not a very tall guy. Do I feel comfortable and confident on this? Are my bars in a good position? And some bikes just speak to you that they feel like they've been engineered for you, and you go, yeah, okay, I've got things are in the right place, and then you start them up, and that's when the visceral experience starts, and then you go, okay. And for me, it doesn't take long to work out if I like a bike or not. From clutch, how that feels, and then power delivery, and if it's nicely balanced, Again, I jumped on a bike this week that I'm not allowed to talk about. The first thing, I was just riding around the car park doing like figure of eights more or less on the lock, just the clutch, the back brake position, and how balanced. And yeah, so I think you just get a feeling, and you can't knock something if it's got things that can be adjustable and you don't adjust them. But when you've jumped on a bike and I've had experience with brands, and the R&D team, they test. They really work so hard on the ergonomics, and you go, yeah, this is someone who rides bikes, has definitely put the hours in this and it feels right. And you can just tell, like, it's intuitive the way that the functionality works. There's still some bikes now that just aren't intuitive. You feel like you need a degree to go to work through the menu. So when you jump on a bike and it doesn't feel, you just feel like you're ready and it makes sense. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah, I find it just I have zero technical knowledge about bikes, and I always try and let people know, listen, I'm not fed by the spec sheet. I know bugger all about this. Most of the time now, the vast majority of my bikes are BMWs because I get them as a loaner when my bike goes in for a service. So the dealership just goes, you ridden one of these yet? No, boom, just chuck me the keys.
Not just when they're in for a service.
Oh, yeah, obviously, yeah, thanks. Yeah, this week I can't believe I did that. I've never done it in like nearly 20 years of riding. I've never done it, but I put the light lock. This is for the folks at home. I put the light lock on my bike because believe it or not, I was going to the opticians. So I put the light lock on my bike while I parked it up in the car park. I came back out, packed everything away in my top box, jumped on the bike, pulled away, clunk. No. It's the light lock on the front wheel, isn't it? So it ended up bending the spokes, the wire spokes on the front of the tractor. And it's done something either to the caliper or the brake line, banjo, something. So I rode it home, but all the way home, like every roundabout, I was thinking, these brakes feel a bit spongy. And the more I braked, the more spongy they got. And by the time I got home, the brake lever was actually coming back to the handlebar. So I was like, right, this isn't good. So yeah, that's knackered. So that's a way in now. But I've got a K1600. They
yeah,
made a K1600.
Yeah, that's a nice armchair, isn't it?
Yeah, I've not ridden one of them in, I think 2019 was the last time I rode one of those. So that'll be fun.
Do you feel you're at that point though now? Like, where you go? No. I think there's, I don't know where I don't know.
It is an incredibly capable machine, but it's heavy, isn't it? It's really heavy. But it's a pal of mine in the old Bill, actually, he came away on tour to the Picos with me, and he moved from a GS to one of those. And we were like, what are you buying one of them for? Good God. Oh my God. What he did with that bike around the Picos was phenomenal. He just had it laying on its, on the sides. It was nuts. Yeah. But he got rid of it and went back to a tractor. So
yeah, just because everyone was ripping him, but even though he could.
It was just, I think it was just, he wanted a change because I think he'd had like 5 GSs in various incarnations over the years. So he just wanted a change just to see what else was there. So we went to that and was just like, it's not a GS, is it? So we end up back with him. But I always go on about how, does it tickle my danglies? Does it give you that feeling, that little feeling? That's what I like about bikes. And if they don't, it's quite hard to get excited about them, I find. But, I'm not a professional journo. I'm just a bloke with a channel, and I'm not telling you about the technical parts of a bike. I'm just saying what that bike makes me feel. It's a very visceral thing for me. Yeah, I always say, I might like it, you might not. I might not like it, you might love it. But this is just my opinion. That's all.
If we all like the same thing, life would be pretty dull.
Well, exactly. Yeah. If everyone just went with logic and the realities of life, everyone would be on a GS 1300, not a GSA, a GS, because it's the best bike in the world, Talking of GSs, you been on the 450 yet?
No, it's just launched this week, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was. Yeah,
that end of the market is the smaller capacity stuff. Sorry, there's a lot of cats here now. They've just my good lady has just turned up with. We have 2 houses at the moment, and we have a cat in each house, and the cats don't get to see each other very often. So they're 2 males.
So they're having fun.
No, so the one that hasn't got balls is just giving us a swipe. So they decided they're going to do their fighting and sniffing here in front of me while we try and do that.
No worries, don't worry about it.
So that class is so. I was reviewing the 390 Adventure KTM for Bennetts Bike Social recently, but I went down to Nathan Millwood's and to one of his riding weekends, which is brilliant. And
he's a good boy. He's a good boy.
Nathan's he's a one-off. He is, but the clientele there was a I was probably one of the youngest, but a lot of sort of 450 sized traily adventure rally style bikes, and this segment is so exciting at the moment, and so BMW with the GS, and really looking forward to riding that. There's a whole host of Chinese built brands, Cove CF Moto, QJ, Vogue. They've all got stuff in there which with amazing spec, and these bikes are light and they're relatively affordable and they're decent spec. It's an exciting place, that part, and maybe it's the industry building bikes for a segment that, for riders who are getting older and want something lighter, or they're finding different ways to explore. They do want to go on the and green lane, and they don't want to go on a GS, or they want one of these as their second or third bike, and because they can probably afford it. So that's exciting. This stuff excites me, and it's not big power stuff. It's just reliable modern off-road bikes that don't need servicing in the hours. But I suppose it's better mopeds. We talk about the fun we have with those. It's not about going fast. It's about using them and exploring and doing things differently. So I saw some impressions from some of the journalists who were out riding the GS, and sounds pretty good. They've got the right brand. Obviously, I think they'll sell well.
Yeah, I think. But there's only something like, I think my dealership was saying, I think that each of the dealerships have hardly been given any 450s to ship on. Okay. It's like they've limited how many 450s the dealerships can actually have initially. I mean, probably just to test it out and see what the sale's going to be like. But I think it's going to sell like hotcakes.
If you think, how my experience at KTM, when you make a bike, and there's a production run. I mean, the planning that goes into these is amazing. You can't just go, these are selling well, switch up, because of most factories are assembly centers. Centers. They're bringing in Brembos,
all the component parts.
Yeah, exactly, and how that's got to be ordered. It's amazing. So when you go, right, okay, this is what we think. There's a gap in the market for this bike, because the dealers around the world are saying we're getting requests for this, and then you'll have some countries where, be it for licensing reason or just because of tax reasons or all sorts, they'll go, this is a bike for that. I can give you an example. The 200 Duke was KTM's biggest selling bike globally for a while. Yeah. But it was brought into the UK for 1 year officially, and it didn't really do anything, because 200's been nothing but in India and in other parts of Asia. It's a huge that class. So then they'll go, right, we're going to make X amount of bikes, and they've got to be shared around the world from this batch. So, how many do you think you can do? And there'll be markets that will go, well, we're confident we can do that, and they'll take the lion's share. So, and then they'll see how the bike goes, and then when it comes into year two, and like any bike, Bruce, year two is when they iron out all the problems, technical inspections and stuff like that, and that's when they'll go, okay, there's demand. So it's better to not flood the dealerships, create demand, and then smash it out. I'm sure they'll have loads of them at ABR Festival for.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, it's interesting what you said there. I totally agree with you. I think that sort of, the 350 to 450cc market, it's going to be huge, isn't it? Because, as you just said, that biking market that grew up in the 80s and 90s, they're all now on GS. I see them on my tours. They're GS riders, but some of them are pushing into their 70s and beyond now. And it's just the big bikes, big adventure bikes, they're just getting too much for them. And, these lads are like, they're looking for a different alternative. But there's never really been, hello there. Yeah, and there's never really been anything in that market, really. And I think almost it was like, what blokes are like? Blokes are kind of like, they don't really want to admit that they need that smaller bike. Whereas now it's becoming a bit of a vogue thing, isn't it? There's the appeal of, well, I'll get a smaller CC bike because I'm going to go and do a little bit of trail riding. You probably won't ever do that. But it's a nice little inner for people to go into the smaller CC bikes. And then you realise how much bloody fun these things are, don't you? It's becoming the fashion thing.
That's exactly what's happening. People are giving them as a second or third bike and then just end up using them more because no one wants to admit that bike's too big and heavy for them. I'm having a sort of similar sort of. If you're watching this, we're working. But it's I guess I just want people to keep riding, and you don't want them to be scared. So these lighter bikes and just enjoying a different type of riding.
Yeah, but it's the practicalities though, as well as you said. The cost is a lot less because nowadays you're talking high teens, 20 grand for the big bikes these days, which is just insanity. But that's what it is. And then you've got your insurance on top of that, and your servicing and your parts and everything else that goes with it. If you're dropping down to your 400 cc's, it's not as much of an initial outlay, is it? And hopefully they're not going to crucify you for insurance, which might open it up to a younger market, making it a little bit more attractive for them, especially when they see the industry embracing that engine cc, and it's no longer got this stigma around it. You're not a failed biker because you're going for a smaller cc bike. It's become the fun thing, which might attract more people in.
Well, I have to say that the it's not just the sort of rally adventure style bikes. There's never been a better time, or in terms of the choice from all the brands for smaller capacity bikes under 500 cc is insane. Okay, there are some insanity. Did you see what BeMoto just launched this week?
Is this the proper sports looking bike?
Yeah, but the 400cc one that's like...
Oh no, I've not seen that.
North of they've got a limited one that's like 13, 14 grand. It's like for a 400.
What?
Honestly, I was having this discussion with another journalist today, and we're like, they've gone mad. But
wow,
but forget the madness part.
Someone will buy it.
Someone will buy it. But there is so much choice. The manufacturers have woken up to it, and there's, whether it's platform sharing in the same engine and frame but with different styles, but there is so much out there. And I think that if you are getting into riding and those first big bikes post test, they look, Honda's CBR 500R, it looks like a blade, and there are dealers everywhere. It's going to be reliable, but then you've got all the stuff from the Chinese manufacturers. There's KTM got the 390 engine in supermotos and enduros and adventures and Dukes and fully fed RCs. There's so much choice out there. It's really an exciting place, and for those who are coming back, like say coming down the capacity class because they want to keep riding. Guys, fucking in.
They want to join in.
Oh, I'm not. You know what? I'm obsessed with these cats. I've got 2 dogs, but my dad loves having the dogs because he's retired and he's got time, and I'm just become some cat obsessed weirdo.
I was never a cat man, and then I met my wife and she loves cats, and we had 3. We lost one sadly, he just didn't come home, but we still got the other 2. And I'm a total convert. I still love. I've got my dog. If he's an idiot, I love her. But
but it's a different thing, isn't there? These things are funny. I don't know they don't get to spend much time together. When we get the house together, you
can see them in the background.
Yeah, they're like madness.
On the audio podcast, they're going to be like, "Yeah, interesting. Yeah, lovely. Thanks."
Yeah, this roughy tufty bikers talking about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Anyway, no, let's not go down there. So I think motorcycles in a great position with its smaller capacity offerings. It's just getting more people on it. But for those who are going, okay, I want to keep riding, but I want something lighter and lower power. It's great. They're not even skimping on stuff on the tech. They look great. They're well built. So that really excites me. I do like the lower end of the class at the moment because there's so much to talk about. Really,
I've had a couple of the PR teams that handle various different manufacturers. A couple of them, Triumph, Ducati, they've loaned me a bike to take away on a tour before, like a European tour. And other ones, Honda in particular, I said to them, listen, I'd love to take one of the small CC bikes because I think there's a big, as we've just discussed, I think there's a big market there, and I would love to take one on a tour to show people these things are capable. You can tour on these, and you can keep up. You're not going to be winning races, but it's not like you're just going to be left behind and not part of the gang.
No, not at all.
But nobody's really embraced that yet. I've had guys along on, the Honda ADVs and all this sort of stuff. They're cracking on those things. I know what are they, 600cc, so they're a wee bit bigger. Was that 750?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Bloody hell, I didn't know they were that big. That'll be why they were cracking on.
Yeah. I spent time on the XADV and the Forza last year as well.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the Forza because you could ride it manual or like sort of semi-auto or auto and change your body position. But like I say, they can crack on. And yeah, I do like me a maxi scooter, to be honest.
Yeah, you mentioned them a lot.
Yeah, but that's the thing about bikes. You can say the one bike for everything is the GS. But it's, for me, I love a maxi scooter. I love a trials bike, a little adventure bike. I've got my two-wheel car, the Honda Dual-Wheel. I've got, got the PEDs. I've got a classic. I've got a, you could just. Long may it continue that with one bike isn't the one bike to do it all, because I want to have loads of crap out there. But small capacity stuff is a really, really cool part of the market. So I hope that I guess you'll do tours that are kind of like, I don't know, 800cc and below, or so people don't feel like they have to. They're not coming because they think they're going to get left behind by a load of 1250, 1300 GSs or whatever. You can, like you say, yes, when you're two up and got a load of luggage on, it can be a little bit difficult to drag up some hills, but it's still.
But it's still fun though, isn't it? As long as it's not dangerous, you're not dangerously slow. As long as you can still do the speed limits and, as we said, overtaking, it requires a fair bit of planning. But it's bloody fun, isn't it? It's a challenge. Everything's a challenge on them. Well, that's what I love about it.
As you know more than anybody else, doing something that's not intended to do that, like, I don't know, go around the world on a sports bike, there's a kind of perverse enjoyment out of doing something.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, I've ridden my 300-pound CB500 and passed everyone in a group on it, and because I don't know, I can ride all right, but when you're doing on something that isn't intended for it, there's another sort of sick satisfaction. So, hey, as long as people are riding and enjoying it, good on them.
Exactly.
We all got different bikes,
as long as having fun, I don't really care what anyone rides. Just enjoy it, have fun.
Yeah.
Kevin, I'm not sure. I think we answered that question. It's about an hour ago that we started on that one, but I think we've answered that. Just the question. Mark Fulcher. All right, buckle yourself in. Let's see what he's saying in here. Moving on. Noticed in the pic, Luke sticking the front end up on a Gixxer. Is he in agreement, like me and Bruce, that we need a revolution of K5000s to take over again and put big massive smiles on all our faces? I do miss my Gixxers. Sports bikes, big capacity sports bikes. Are we going to see like a rejuvenation or a rebirth of large capacity sports bikes?
It's funny what you say is large and mid-range. That whole thing's weird because we've got like bikes like the R9 and the RC990, right? Pretty much liter bikes, but their horsepower is like 100 off, M1000RRs and R1Ms. And I don't know if you've ridden them, they're amazing fun. It kind of goes back to liter bikes from the sort of late 90s, 2000s in terms of their horsepower, and they're all the fun still. I think, I don't know, we know that sports bike sales are in decline, especially the liter bikes. Look at what we've just been talking about and how people are, the demographics getting older and people are shoving down the capacity orders. I think the manufacturers still need hero bikes. Suzuki have brought back out the GSX-R1000 this year. Are they, they say they're selling, the orders have been good, but I imagine they're not thinking this is going to be our big seller, but they need a flagship bike, and manufacturers need those. But I think we'll see production-based racing is changing, different classes. And once Stuart Higgs is brilliant at doing that in BSB, so maybe if they take the brave move and go, actually, right, these 1,000 cc's that are being raced that aren't actually been in production or aren't available on the road anymore, let's go to something else. I think we'll see that's when the fashion will come. People will buy them that way. But we talked earlier about the industry growing up. I think people now in a demographic of riders get on and go, I know I don't need that level of horsepower. Yeah. Can I still have a load of enjoyment? And something like the R9 and the from Yamaha, the KTM RC 990R, you can have sports bike look with the chassis and the braking and the performance, but not the level of horsepower that's just like crazy. It's almost usable. It's still way more than you need. So I think it's looking like the manufacturer's going, okay, this is the sweet spot there.
Yeah, so, in that sort of sub 1,000cc.
Yeah, but
that nine,
sort of 120 to 130 horsepower, which is it's what they are.
It's difficult, isn't it? You've got to make it. You've got to make it visibly, and it's got to be visibly attractive. Like the looks have got to make people want the bike. It's got to be appealing within the biking community, isn't it? It's what am I trying to say here?
That's great. Like, think about R1s and R9s.
Yes, that's it.
You have an R7, which it's not a sports bike. It looks like a sports bike. And you've got the CBR 650 and CBR 500. They look like blades, but they're not. But they look like it. And you've got the same with the 125 or 300s or whatever. So you kind of got to go, my bike is like the baby brother of that. I'm going to work up I'm going to work up the classes and get that. So you need to have those halo bikes, the poster bikes. But then the reality, like, I'm not getting one of those just yet, but I've got this one's just like it. It's just slightly small. So
and you don't want to be paying the insurance for those hero bikes either, do you? You don't want to be paying the insurance for an M1000 fucking RR.
But Bruce,
good luck.
There's always going to be a customer that can buy those.
Absolutely.
Gully V4R, and brilliant. I'm happy for them. They can buy that. That's fantastic. But the bulk of the industry is, it needs those aspirational bikes, but you're going to get it in a smaller capacity version and feel like, you've got the same thing, but just a little bit different. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, Mark, we both, I think Mark still got his Gixxer Thou, I think. I can't remember if he kept it or not. And obviously I've got mine, so we'll do a day, Mark, where we'll go out on the Gixxers again.
Yeah, please can I have a go on your bike, Mark? I love those. those K3, K4, K5, K6. Wow.
Beautiful bikes. Yeah. Awesome. Right, next one. Lest XR. New to the clan here after being a long-time fan of the channel and the pod. Well, thank you very much for your support on Patreon. Thank you. Welcome to the clan. Question for Luke. What has been your favourite year in motorcycling during your career, based on bikes launched or ridden, new tech, and experiences had? That's a good question.
Oh, that is a really good question. Wow. Okay. I suppose one year that jumps to mind, I suppose, is 2004. I know it's ages ago, but that's when the rest of the manufacturers were kind of cottoning on to building litre bikes to try and keep up with the GSX-R and the R1. So you had the new blade, the CBR 1000RR, which looked like the RCV, and then you had Kawasaki with the ZX-10. Before they'd just been asleep with ZX-9 and things like that. So that was quite like all the major sort of Japanese factories had litre bikes that were just nuts and sharp and just. I remember that group test that year went to France and with PB, and we went to what's the track? I want to say Lebanon, but. Maybe it was. But on the roads, so we went to the south of France around Cannes and places like that. And just these bikes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But you just would have any of them. They were just, the performance was just amazing from them. And you just thought, wow, this is great. All the manufacturers have woken up for this end of it. But then I suppose if I think about the technology that came in. So I'm probably going to be 2017, 2018. And when we had like cornering ABS, cornering traction control, I remember doing I really wanted to highlight these innovations, a lot, Bosch working very closely with GK and BMW and KTM. And I really wanted to kind of highlight just how good these systems work. We mentioned earlier about going to the bike show and, this is the traction control I need and I don't need ABS. And so I wanted to run this event to show off some of the systems that are on there, because they're just incredible. We went to one of Bosch's development places and I had to show the journalists what the system would do. So I had various exercises. So we had launch control, cornering ABS, cornering traction control, hill hold control, off-road ABS, and I'm about to demonstrate them. And it was so funny getting people to trust in the system. We had this riding around in a massive circle on a super adventure. And I was just pegged down hard as I could on the brakes, and then remembered to put my foot down and telling people, you can go and do that. That's what the system's built for. Brakes, slam the brakes on, it will do it. And then just that, it's the most extreme way to showcase these systems. But this is at a time where BMW and GK were also implementing these onto flagship adventure bikes, not sports bikes. I thought we're getting to a point where, okay, we've got such outrageous levels of performance, but we've got amazing systems that can bail you out. Don't ride these systems. And I've been a bit stupid before. I've been able to trust the systems on the bike so much on the road, and just with slide control and stupid stuff like that. So good. But you shouldn't be riding like that. But so they're two sort of polar opposite points where you've got, liter sports bikes that are just all on par and just incredible performance, wheeling through the gears, and just, you felt like you were getting race bikes on the road with world superbike performance. And then, you fast forward to just incredible safety systems that don't dilute the fun out of bikes, but just can really bail you out.
I'm so glad that I caught that wave of the liter sports bike, that that sort of phenomenon that was coming. 2008, so mid 2008, I passed my test. So obviously through 2008, I was showing an interest in bikes, and I was reading the mags and MCN. And I always remember the group tests. It was always the big liter sports bikes. That was the pinnacle
everyone wanted
thing.
to be on that test.
Oh yeah. And I didn't care where the Gixxer came in it. It was just, that is my bike. Yeah. That's my bike. And as soon as I got one, it was like, oh yeah, mega. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that period.
Yeah, that's a great time. Yeah. Anyway, yes. So hopefully that.
Where did you see it? In fact, that's probably going to be a question actually someone's going to ask, I imagine. But in case they don't, where do you see it going with the technology and bike development? And where do you think the industry is going to go?
I think that the industry is we sort of brushed on this before about an aging demographic, but also how to attract new people. I said about small capacity bikes, there's never been such a good variety for those who are just getting on to two wheels, or those coming back down. And now what we're seeing is CVT e-clutches. As we speak, Honda are launching in Portugal another model with the e-clutch. Right? So I think you've got making it easier for those who've ridden to kind of have the option of using a clutch or not, being automatic. And I love, again, how involved riding a bike. I love how manual they are, but I love a quick shifter. I do love a quick shifter. My slow speed controls, I ride trials by really, I recommend riding trials to everyone. It makes you those clutch and brake skills. So I see that you're offering more or the manufacturers are offering more flexibility to that, to make that easier for those, when it does become harder to pull the clutch in, and gear changing and doing the miles. So that flexibility. On the other side, so you're seeing, if you think about twist and go, right? Once you pass 125, it's mainly still scooters, right?
Yeah. But
what if you're not into that look? So, like Bender, which has been an interesting challenge for the name in the UK, but they've got some like 350 sort of cruisers that are fully auto, and is that the way to win? Like for new people that actually aren't as involved, they're not grown up, but they love the look of something, but they want it easier. So imagine, these cruisers and nakeds coming in that are auto, and we know that KCVT saps a load of power off, but if you take out a lot of barriers, because if you've not grown at riding bikes, clutch control and installing that, there's a lot going on. But if you take that away, is that going to entice more people to get on it? It's twist and go, and twist and go, not twist and go elite sports bikes, but twist and go, cruise.
Everything.
Yeah. Can be done. So maybe that's how I see it going, because they're starting to come in.
There's that inside me, it's going, no, because it's change. I don't want change, And I'm like you. Biking's visceral for me. It's changing gears. It's that feeling of the engine and.
But Bruce, what if your left foot knackered and you can't?
Yeah, I know.
Your option is to not ride, or you got carpal tunnel so bad, or whatever. And if you've got an option, I drive an automatic car. I love autos because I hate driving. That's why I'm not bothered about being as involved. But if those changes in the tech mean that people can keep riding,
for me, it's like. Are they developing this with a view that eventually it's just going to take over and you're not going to have manual bikes anymore? And that's the part of me that's going, no, don't take my toys away. But I'm not getting any younger, and you only need that one incident in your life where you can't, you lose a leg, you lose a hand, whatever it is, you cannot ride the bike the way it is now. And these new ones will allow you to do that. I get that. I totally get it.
It's weird. I went up to see a friend of mine on the Forza 750 last year. I wanted to put a load of miles in it, and I rode up there. And this is a big maxi scoot, but it's kind of a motorbike, and it's got a big engine in 750. And I rode up in full auto, but I took a different route on the way back through the Lincolnshire Wolds, and I was on manual. But manual for that is push button, but it meant I could hold gears and use engine braking. So I was still more involved in the riding. I wasn't pulling the clutch, but I was still involved, and I enjoyed the ride. I know it's weird on a big maxi scooter, but I was with my shifting and holding the gears, and I had a great time. So it's just done in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think long as there's that choice, like e-clutches and that you can. I'm in the mood for manual. Okay, I say I've got an auto car. I've got paddle shift, so I put it in to drive, and if I'm in the mood. But I've got a dicky left knee, Bruce. That sometimes it's, if I'm sitting in traffic on a full manual car, it really hurts and it swells up, and it's, I could get it operated on, but it's not going to get worse. But so I can, if I'm in a bit of a driving mode, I can still shift, but I'm just doing it with my hands. So I think, again, it comes back to, I don't need ABS and traction control. I don't know if you must have ridden with a quick shifter. They're lovely. They're a lovely thing.
Yeah. So brilliant. And blippers as well. You're just like, oh my God, yes, it's awesome. This is awesome.
When these things are done well and done right, and you've got the opportunity to bypass them, but I find.
But it's that thing though. It's change. Don't do change. I hate change.
You asked me. Remember what the question? Like, what does more mean for you?
Yeah.
And that's not for me, is to just remain settled and go, this is the way it's always been. I like my 6-speed and my clutch, my 1-up and my 5 down, unless I'm on track. No, I'm happy to try something different, because there's probably a reason why someone's just not gone, let's just do something differently. There could be advantages in that. And I suppose if I ride a high performance bike on the road and I have got a quick shifter auto blipper, for me, in a busy brain with all the things I have to remember, it's one less thing it's got to worry about. And I'm more focused on my riding, because I'm going to pull the clutch in. I don't know. It's still, your brain's got to do all these things. Maybe I'm just shaping myself up to become wanting everything easy. I don't know.
You're just getting ready for an electric bike, Luke. That's what it is.
No.
Like I think I have a split personality, because there's that part of me that is just like, I don't do change. I'm not interested in change. stop changing stuff. I like it the way it is. But I also have that side of me that's like you, where I like progress and I like technology and I want to try new stuff. But it's like a constant battle that's going on. And it depends what side of the bed I wake up on. It really does. Some days I wake up and I'm like, yeah, come on, let's try something different. And then there's other days I wake up where I'm like Victor Meldrew, just get out my fucking way and leave me alone.
Well, that's why you'll always have your GSXR, then it's analog style that you can.
True. Yeah.
I suppose when
true.
new stuff comes out, you don't have to buy it. You can, that's why I've got a whole garage full of crap. There's stuff on there that's carburetors and you have to choke it up. It's, sometimes I look at that. And sometimes I want APS, auto, fuel injection, because I'm like, I'm going to go ride here now. And I'm riding here will be the best way to get there. I'll enjoy it and I'll get there on time. But I'm not up for the hassle. Of my classic or whatever,
Yeah, okay. Right, cheers for that one, Lest XR. Next one, Patrick Collum. So question for you both. In terms of motorcycles and general riding moving forward, what fills you with dread and what gives you hope for motorcycles or motorcycling more generally? Bit broad, but hopefully a conversation point. So, what fills you with dread around bikes?
The end of the
I'm assuming.
Internal combustion engine for me. Because I thought we were all starting to go down the road of parallel twins and no innovation, but we are seeing like Honda with their their V3 electric supercharged stuff. I think, you lose the innovation, and again, it comes down to that visceral thing, isn't it? Although I don't like noisy exhausts particularly, I do like when I'm on the feeling, the vibrations, the engines, the revs, the different configurations. And it's the noise to a degree. It's not the 125s on open pipes going past my house, but it's.
And you like KTM's?
45 now, Bruce. I don't want to hear other people's bikes. I want to hear my own.
No, I get you.
I suppose that fills me with dread. That's the end of that, because I've ridden plenty of electric bikes, and the performance can be amazing, but doesn't light your fire in the same way. And that's why we don't have a electric class at the TT anymore, and we don't have Moto E anymore. Because
do you think there's a future in it? I see it as a fad. I don't see, particularly in biking, I just don't see a future in it.
It makes sense if I remember years ago that a load of the big manufacturers signed an agreement that they were going to all have a shared battery, basically, and so you would end up with like locker boxes where you go, right, this battery's battery, you take it out and you put that in there. So from a commuting point of view, commuters are the only bikes that make sense, really, aren't they? Small capacity, relatively cheap to run, to get through traffic, they make sense, So you'd see that would work, from an e-bike point of view. Livewire, no one's buying them. But then look at, the name just popped out of my head. British brand. Electric bike. God, come on, help me out.
British brand?
Yes. Up in Coventry. Maven, right? They're doing well, but they're
are they?
They are doing really well. But they're the look of it, but they're basically like 125 and 50 equivalents aimed at small commutes and real ease of charging and the power packs and that. But from a big capacity thing, hey, I'm happy to be proved wrong, but I just don't see it. I don't see it going. I don't think.
I don't get this electric revolution, because it was all on the grounds of it's best for the environment, when it's plainly not. No, it's worse for the environment. So why are we going down that path? Well, I know why we're going down the path is because 10, 15 years ago, all the big energy companies have invested trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars into this. But even they know this is bollocks. And I think we're going to swift round. I think we are going to switch over the next few years back to traditional petrochemical energy and an amalgamation with the likes of hydrogen and things like that.
Maybe we'll see clean two-strokes, which make great power for the capacity. If they can, there's ways to clean those up. It's quite expensive, but I think I guess if there's still fossils to be had out of the ground, then I don't know.
Well,
So
this is it. It's there, and the modern petrol fuel, fossil fueled engine is so much more economical, environmentally friendly than electric is.
yeah.
So why are we not going down that route? Why are we not just developing that? Because we're raping the planet for everything that's needed for electric, and there's only a finite amount of it. What happens when that's all gone?
I guess look at what we do as a society anyway, right? So oil is in pretty much everything, right? Everything that we use. But we are a world of consumers, and look at in any shop or TV or whatever, how much stuff we can get. So much of it we don't need. All right.
Of course. Yeah.
So if we were just, if we made different choices on that, but yeah, oil is in pretty much everything. Therefore
it's in the medication we take.
Yeah.
Do you know that? It's in the pills that we take.
Yeah,
it has oils in that. Petrochemical industry is in the tablets we take.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely everything.
So maybe if we made better choices about all the plastic that's made, stuff that we just don't need, that's just rubbish and tat that costs pennies, maybe we can do it different. So that's the thing that fills me with dread, that we don't see any more big capacity motorbikes fueled by, I guess, fossil fuels or I guess hybrids or whatever. And what excites me the most, I would say that we're in the middle of a revolution. I wasn't around when the Japanese just caught the British manufacturing. Britain was the capital of the world for motorcycling, and then just rested on their laurels and got lazy. In post-war Japan just came in and just showed them how it can be done, and then people resisted. And now we're seeing it with Chinese and Indian manufacturers.
Yeah,
they're not messing around. It's not, Christ, I remember testing a Hyasun Comet 650 when I was at PB 22 years ago, and it was on its own, it was all right, but then you put it next to an SV 650 on a test, which we did, and it was nowhere near. And there was loads of cheap, small capacity bikes that were just rubbish, but it's not like that anymore. It's, they're all running Bosch and Brembo and great suspension brands on it, and they're engines that have been bought under license and further developed or copied or whatever. And you can get amazing products for crazy money, all with
a third of the price of some of the competition.
Yeah, and they ride really well. It is nuts, and from all the different sort of shows now, people are just becoming less resistant to them. They're like, yeah, I want a new bike, and actually I can't justify spending this much, but I can justify that. And actually I know that engine's made in the same factory that they make an engine for a well-known manufacturer. So we are in the middle of a changing of the guard. I think we're going to see some big established players not do so well sales-wise, and lots of these other brands coming up because they're pushing hard and they're bringing incredible products out for amazing deals. So that excites me because it goes back to competition, doesn't it? It goes back to choice, and then those people who have been early adopters, certainly to some of these brands in the last few years, have got the benefits. They've got bikes. And the thing, Bruce, these bikes won't stay at this price for long. Do you remember when, Kia and Daewoo and all those other car brands came in? They were so cheap. Okay, the products were pretty bland, but Kia's like a premium brand now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it will change, and they'll become, they'll rise up. The products will become more expensive, and then wait for the next wave of people to come in. So that excites me because it's competition and it's innovation, and these companies are using tie-ups with other manufacturers or hiring real talent, and they're buying up braking brands and suspension brands, and they're doing things differently. So it's I don't want to see brands and disappear and people lose jobs, but I'd like to see innovation and value coming in, and therefore it might just motivate people to go, actually, I'm going to get a bike now because that's a bit more affordable on the PCP, and it looks insane, and it's less than $6,000.
I've got to admit, mate, I get the Chinese thing. I really do. You know, not only are they great value for money, they're a great product now. But that is my dread, in that there's no argument. It is going to hammer the established industry, the established manufacturers. There's a lot of them just aren't going to be able to. They're just not going to be able to compete at all. So you're going to end up with some who are, I think, going to go for that high-level luxury. Your BMWs, your Ducatis, they're going to end up being your high-level, high-value bikes. And then I think everyone else is pretty much going to fall by the wayside. And the Chinese market will do exactly what you said. Once they've strangled that market and they've overtaken it and they've got it, the prices will go up.
Yeah.
But that's just business. That happens in every industry, isn't it?
Yeah, and we talked earlier about
it?
KTM. It's business, isn't it? Just to keep going. And I think, that is the nature of the game, isn't it? So, you don't see things disappear. But if they're not moved with the times, or they're not making products that people want or justify them, the sub 10 grand new bike mark, right, where it is PCP and that, you know, the high end stuff will always sell. You know, there's that clientele, but that under 10 grand or under 8 grand now is so competitive.
Yeah, it's incredible. That's incredible. You can buy these bikes for 8 grand.
Yeah,
and what you get for that money is insane.
But what's happening, Bruce, from an insider point of view, is the amount of established dealerships with these big brands. They're not willing to play you've got to have this crazy amount of money of shop system now. They just want to sell bikes. They don't want to have to spend a load of money on stuff that doesn't really make a difference. If you're, some of the more premium brands, it kind of makes sense because your clientele are used to a certain level. But I think for some of the brands, a dealership doesn't want to spend tens of thousands on shop system that doesn't feel like they've done only 5 minutes ago. And for what? They just want product at a good value and then, not be a lazy dealership and just work it. So, yes, the non-established players coming in, they're not putting those same demands on dealerships. So dealerships are picking up the phone and going, bring us some of these bikes over. We want to try what they're all about. And there's a lot of change. I hear it every week.
It's quite exciting as well, though, isn't it? I mean, although it fills me with dread to think that it's going to be the end of a lot of manufacturers and stuff, or not a lot, but some manufacturers, it's exciting because it's forcing the industry, particularly here in the UK, it's forcing the industry to shake itself a little bit and go, right, okay, how do we adapt? How do we do something? And it's what it needs. It's what the industry needs.
I think the next big thing to shift, right, and we're starting to see it now, is Chinese tyre brands.
Really?
Yeah. So, right, we know that pretty much tyres make the bikes, right? You buy an old bike, you put new tyres on it. Tyres have changed probably the most, would you say, in the last 20, 30 years of motorcycling? Like sports touring tyres now are insanely good.
Oh, phenomenal. Yeah, that's all you need.
But yeah, exactly. Christ, they can do it on track, they can do it in the wet and the cold. But they're expensive, and motorcycle tires have to work so hard. But that, we know that contact patch is doing so much. Drive to one wheel, braking mainly to one wheel. But then they're expensive, right? And now we're seeing tires not come out of Japanese factories and Italian factories, and now coming from China. And there's some brands that, there's some bikes which don't massively matter, like cruisers and big heavy things to a degree. But yeah, now we're seeing track tires and hypersports tires coming in. And I look on various Facebook groups and, oh my cats, we just,
it's a cat.
They just two boys.
I thought you had a toddler or something.
No, they're just like, Dad, we're fighting. Come and watch us fight. It's like the most boring fight. Babe, can you stop these cats? Can you hear them? Yeah. Chuck him outside. Madhouse. It's not the kids anymore. The kids just it's hard enough to get the kids to come out of the rooms or shower and then
shower, yeah. Chinese tires.
Yeah. So that'll be the next big revolution, I think, where people go, I'm going to put my trust into this. Has it been made to the same standards? I think Yeah, that'll be when, everyone jokes about Temu stuff, doesn't it? But there's things that, you're happy to buy an aftermarket fairing set because, you put it on, it's not structural as such, but other parts on a bikes,
Yeah, I don't think I'm quite ready for that. That's going to be a leap of faith. That I think.
Where do you cut your cloth? Do you go right? Actually, I'm going to make sure I get the full 5 years out of this crash helmet. You always buy a premium crash helmet. You do research onto that. But I eke up my leathers or my textiles, but I'm not skimping when it comes to my tires. So I don't know. So yes, there's changes. There's changes are coming.
Oh, be interesting to see. Right, cheers for that one, Patrick. Next one, Sam Meadows. Evening, gents. My question. Well, two questions. If you had to pick the best bike you've ever ridden of any type, what would it be and why? Also, if you were only allowed one bike for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? All the best.
Well, God, we know what your
best bike you've ever ridden.
We know what your answers are going to be on that one, Bruce.
I don't know if you will actually.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm going first again. That is a really, really hard question because, again, we sort of said about the bikes I own so much. I can put it another way. There's only been a handful of bikes that I've tested that I would have parted with my money with if I could afford it. And in no particular order, KTM 950 Supermoto, just such a bonkers engine in a long travel suspension that can handle any kind of road and was a hooligan machine. That was amazing. Aprilia 210R, the first one with the yellow number plates. That was again, it was like an RSV for me always felt really big and clumsy, but yet with a set of bars was great. So I suppose the modern equivalent of that for me would be the Gen 2 or Gen 3 1290 Super Duke R. Really, really love those. I want to own a Ducati 998 and I will own one. She knows. I literally, when the house sold.
You've been laying the groundwork already, have you? You've been laying the groundwork.
It's going to happen. So I will have a Ducati 998 at some point, and I want to have one when I can still ride it. From a physical point of view, and a 998. Yeah, of course you can. Fully boot. I've even bought some retro Dainese leathers to go with the job. So you
bought the leathers already.
Yeah, I know. It was just stupid. They're cool.
Brilliant.
They're on my Instagram. So I wanted to have 999R though was just insane on the road. Like I thought it would be rubbish, high homologation special. I thought it would be just like crazy firm and just a race bike on the road. But even on the horrible roads I made, that was just exquisite. They looked a bit funky, but just so good to ride. Actually, that reminds me of something you had Tim on when he was talking podcasts ago about it's not what they look like and what bikes he's into, but 999R, man, that rode so well but looked a bit funky. So I suppose if I had to just have one, I think it would be a 1290 Super Duke R, either Gen 2 or Gen 3. I had a couple of Gen 2s and did all sorts with it, but they just it was in my KTM contract that I got a bike every year, which was cool. Mm-hmm. And they were always on Austrian plates getting shipped. So it felt like a get out of jail free. So honestly, I don't know how legal that was. But it was
don't ask questions. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time my head would be going, super adventure. I did have a GT one year, but I'd always go Super Duke R because they just you could boogie on track. They were great on the road. You just felt special, all in black and loads of performance. And like most things, again, Bruce, you proved that you can do the miles on anything if your head's in it. So I've done some pretty big trips on that. So that for me just always delivered big smiles. I always wanted to look at it. I always took loads of pictures of it. Yeah, I would like one of those, but I'm going to have a 998 that I'm not allowed to park it in the house, but I'm having a 998. It's not even it's just when I've got a different pension that's due to retire at 55. So the latest I'll have one is in
55.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
What about you then?
Um,
You said you're going to surprise me.
yeah, mine would be the Gen 3 Super Duke R, 1290 Super Duke R.
Wow.
It's that or the M1000R.
Yeah.
The Super Duke, I think I'd already thought to myself, the next bike's going to be the 1390 Super Duke, and I've not even ridden it, but I love the 1290 so much. It's going to be that. Then I rode the M1000R, and I'm in a proper limbo with it on a seesaw. Yeah. I love the noise of that 1290. Just makes me giggle like a schoolgirl. I love it. I loved every second of riding that bike. What's that?
It's hard to get the words out when you think about what it is about.
Yeah. It's what biking's all about for me. It's just visceral enjoyment and excitement. It's an experience to ride that bike. So the M1000R's like that.
I got to ride the prototype. Remember the Beast, the original prototype?
Yeah.
Which was basically an RC8R. It didn't have any electronics, didn't have the same capacity. I got it brought over for the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and then did some stuff with Williams and Bike Magazine, and I got to ride that, and it was crazy taut. It was a lot different to the production one, but even just then you're like, oh yeah, this is nuts. Good times.
They're just fun.
I'll
say.
Yeah, and you can ride them
and
just have a lot of fun on them, and you can ride fast. They're just really versatile, stupidly insane, make no sense. Yeah,
I think the only reason I didn't end up buying one after I had one off of, I think it was off of you. It was either off of you or off of Rootsy. I can't remember which one of you gave us. I had a loan bike from KTM anyway, UK.
If it was
the only reason, pardon?
If it was Gen 3,
it was Gen 3 then. The only reason that bike didn't become my next bike was because it dumped a whole load of fluids on my garage floor. There was just one little washer, there was one little washer failed, and it just dumped all the coolant and everything on my garage floor. And I was just like, oh, if this was my bike, I would have to be dealing with this, and it was just like, I've got the tours, I can't afford that. I need the reliability. And that's the only reason I continued with the tractors, to be honest. To this day, that's the only reason. Yeah. So if I could only have one bike, it's going to be my not any 1300 GS, mine, because I've got a full system on it. I've had it tweaked. I've done loads of stuff to that bike, and it fits me like a glove now, and I love it to bits. It's great fun until you ride it off with a lock on the front wheel. That's not advisable. But for shits and giggles, it's going to be the Super Duke or the M1000R. Yeah, for me. Right, cheers for that one, Sam. Next one, Andy. Evening, gents. Hope this finds you well. First question, Luke. How has motorcycling impacted your life and career choices? And if you hadn't ever ridden a bike, what do you think your life would have been?
Ooh. Okay, I mean, because pretty much working in motorcycling from post-college, as turning into an adult, it's impacted my life in every way. The people I've met, the friends I've got, the places it is, I guess, made my life. It's given me so much, and that's why I feel like I work for motorcycling as opposed to work for whatever brand is paying the bills. So yeah, it's given me so much, and it continues to do that. And I love it, and I love the people I keep meeting and the bikes I keep riding. So yeah, it doesn't define me, but it's given me so much. But it's not my everything. Being a dad is my thing I love the most, definitely. So what was the second part? What would I have done if I wasn't into motorcycling?
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely needed more like shepherding and stewardship, because I don't know. I've realized that in my 40s, really, that my brain works in a different way, and I probably, I got antidepressants prescribed start of last year. That's why I don't drink anymore, and I was offered them 11, 12 years ago. I'm a positive, person, but internally that voice that damns you down, I've switched it off now. It's great. So I think I'm a creative person. I like making things, I suppose. I love photography. I love video. So I think I would have always made something. I like doing events as well. So I guess if it wasn't motorcycling, I'd have done something where I love doing the doing. I never was. I've worked jobs where senior people would get frustrated with me because I was doing too much of the doing rather than using agencies or other people to do it. But I just get a big satisfaction from the team game, but from actually doing stuff. So I guess it comes back to me the fact that I'm not money motivated. Of course, I want to pay my bills, but I love that satisfaction of doing something that I enjoy. So I'm always gonna, gravitate to that. I've also worked out. I've had, I don't know about you, Bruce, but like in the last few years, I've really kind of understood myself a lot better. Now I realize I'm unemployable. I just want to do things. I just want to do the things I want to do. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at. And I used to beat myself up if I wasn't good at doing something. We can't. It's the world is a team game. We all bring different parts to it, but I'm a lot more comfortable going, I can do that. This is the thing I do really well. And it doesn't matter if I can't do this bit, but I just want to focus on the stuff that I can do well. Do that for companies, come in and not be weighed down by all the stuff I hate. A couple of years ago, I was on my best paying job, but it used about 5% of the things I was really good at. I'm just not motivated for the paycheck. I'm motivated for going, I've done that. We've made that. That's what I want to keep doing. And I just like doing stuff that I like doing and where I add value. So I feel satisfied and hopefully the client feels satisfied. And I come in, do that, do what I do well, then go off onto the next project. So whatever it is, I'm a practical person that likes doing things and feeling like I've not just told someone else to do it. I've got lots of ideas, but I like to see them through.
Yeah, I get you on that. It's interesting. I've felt like that myself about being employable for other people, in that I've come from that safety net working for the government in that role to being self-employed in a fairly new niche, and within the biking world itself, where we've already addressed there's not that much money here. So like you don't rely on the industry for any form of, I don't rely on the industry for any form of income. I make my money through tours, through Patreon. That's a huge part of my income, merch and all this sort of stuff. And I've thought to myself, if this all goes tits up, like, what do I do? Because I don't know if I could go back and work for somebody. Like, be told, do this, do that, turn up here. And I'm like, shit. And it's almost like an added bit of pressure. But then you kind of turn it to my advantage in that, okay, well, that's not going to happen then, is it? I can't afford to let that happen. So we're going to make this work, however it is.
You work hard and you've got, like, say, a variety of different revenue streams, haven't you, to make it work. And it's the same with me. I do all sorts of different things and I like the variety, but I'll do whatever I can to pay the bills. I'm not, I've got away with it this long, and if it does end, then what a run. I'll do whatever I can to pay the bills.
You'll figure it out though, won't you? I think that's the benefit of experience and getting older. You realise, well, I'm not going to be destitute. I'm going to figure this out. I will do whatever needs to happen. I've cleaned toilets on a building site before I joined the old bill. I will get a job doing something, whatever needs to be done.
Yeah. When I started my first business, I was delivering Chinese food in the week, at night times. That created enough cash to sort of pay the kids dinner money. I'm not, like I said, I saw my dad doing a job for years that he must have hated, but he did that for his family. So I just want to keep doing stuff that I enjoy, because we spend so much of our time working. And when it is your passion, and you've discussed this, Bruce, you took some time out from some of that, but it rejuvenated you. And I took some time out from the industry and come back, and I'm just excited by it all. So there's some jobs I do, and you'd like, it hardly pays anything, really. Sometimes you have to walk away with it because it just doesn't make sense. But you just go, all right, if I do that, then I'll do that, and I'll get the most from that, and stack it up, and then go, okay, yeah. I think it helps if you're not fueled by money. I think.
Yeah. It's weird though, because in my sphere, in the YouTube sphere, obviously it's renowned and synonymous for influencers making a fortune, but it just doesn't seem to it's not been something I've ever been exposed to. And I think I don't do like the brand deal things and all that sort of stuff. And I think there's money to be made if you do that. But I don't know. There's something in me that just goes, no, I don't want to be like a billboard. I don't. No. And which is weird because that is really part of YouTube.
It goes about you being true to yourself, and this is there's obviously so many influencers and YouTubers, but they all do things in their own way. And then so I think the ones that are genuine that will make it. I've known people in motorcycling influencing, they've peaked and they're either not in it anymore, or
there's a lot like that.
They're hitting me up going, oh, have you got anything? Because they've either the industry's bored of them, or it hasn't worked out, or they've taken advantage of it, or they've not really worked with them. They've just been very short-sighted and gone for a one-off paycheck, and it's not worked out. So I think if you just do you, and you'll go, okay, like you said, Patreon, because you've got an audience of people that love your content for the way you do it because of who you are, and they relate to you.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they might relate to someone.
I'm so lucky. I've got that.
You're not lucky. It comes to. I don't like that word lucky. I like to say fortunate, Bruce, because it's not luck. You are the way you are, and your experiences and your storytelling, and that you're fortunate. You put yourself out there, and you've done that, and people enjoy that. They wouldn't be paying you money as patrons if they didn't enjoy that. They're not seeing you as a charity case. They want you to keep creating this content. Me, like other people, will jump onto YouTube comments where people complain about stuff for the free content they're receiving. I can't stand that. I've been on the cusp of starting my own channel for ages because I've always been PR, or I joined on someone else's channel or helped with someone else's content. But I've got a concept I want to do, and it's not because I'm thinking this is going to be a revenue stream for me. It's a creative outlet. It's something I want to do because I've got access to loads of different bikes and different things. I'm thinking, right, I've got all the equipment. I'll start doing it for me and not for clients. And if it takes off, it takes off. And if people hate me and hit the clients, but I will just be me. I will just be me. And if you come at me in the comments, I'll come at you back. If it's not,
it's kind of fun. I do it too.
I'm just me, So either watch it or don't, subscribe or don't. So you're fortunate, Bruce, not lucky, because you've worked hard at it. You've done stuff that other people wouldn't do, so that you've been inspired, but then you inspire others, and you've built up a following and a fan base because of that. It's not through luck, though. So it's important to tell yourself those things.
I know. I've just I just put, when people start talking like that, I put the shutters down. It's just like,
that's because you're wait till the
finish. Andy's got another bit, which I've got to admit, Andy, I did pre-read this, and you're a bit of a dick. But he says, second question, what's the daftest thing you've forgotten when going for a ride? Mine was I forgot to take off my disc lock. Yeah, very good. Thanks, Andy. I think that's a little dig for what happened to me. But what have you done?
I think the one, and I did it again recently, that I still can't believe, is forgetting to fasten my helmet sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just go, you idiot, come on. Like almost ritual. It's weird, I suppose. That's the thing. And I maybe I do it once a year, and I'm like, oh, yes, you should pull away. Like, how? It's just like,
how? After all these miles, you still do it.
Exactly. It's almost, So that's the thing, Andy, that I every now and then do. And I did it on track at Cadwell Park one time. Oh. And usually they check, and I went out, and I was like, I had to pull off at I forget the corner now. The marshal's got the flag out. I'm really sorry. What the hell do you want?
It's a cat.
That's a Pepsi.
Hello, mate. What's the name?
That's Pepsi. He's
Pepsi.
got a pink collar on, but it's a boy. Janine bought
Mate, you
like
can get away with anything these
12,
days.
12 of them from TV because he was just going through them, just getting on. So we multi-pack bought them. So everyone's like, "Oh, that's a cute girl." I'm like, he's angry. So yeah, that's the thing, Andy, that I still can't believe I do sometimes. I suppose the second one is when you ride off and you've not zipped up your pockets.
Oh,
Yeah, a few years ago, I found my house keys that I'd lost because I'd done the whole. I don't know why you do it. You've rolled away, and then you're like, just stupid stuff.
we had a lad on one of our tours. I think it was last year. Poor lad. He had the Vogue, and in the Vogue has got the keyless ride.
I got involved with. Was it you or Simon was trying to? Yeah, get a key out.
I remember one of us.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, poor lad. I remember thinking when I had the Vogue, I remember thinking, you could come unstuck here because you have to take the key out, don't you, to open the petrol cap?
Yeah.
But it separates from the actual
fob
hub, key fob thing. And I remember, and no warning comes up on the dash when your key's not anywhere near it. Like the GS, you've practically got to be sat on the display before it registers the key. And on the Vogue, it just, maybe they've updated it now, but then there was no warning. So this poor lad went and filled up with fuel, put the key on his top box, did all what you needed to do, jumped on the bike, rode off. Obviously, the bike's working fine, but the key's fallen off the top box. An hour and a half later, we're in another part of France, and he stops to fill up, to go to the calf, and the bike won't start. So he ended up getting stranded for like 10 days.
I've got a plan for that bike you want to borrow later in the year, by the way.
Oh, yeah? Right. Okay. Okay. We'll chat about that later. Right. Cheers, Andy. Thanks for that question. Last one from Patreon. Grubby. Bruce, love the podcast, mate. They get me through long, boring car journeys that come with working life. Thanks to you and your guests. My pleasure, Grubby. A question for Luke. Having worked within the motorcycle industry yourself for so long, what do you think the future of motorcycles in the UK looks like, and what's next? Well, I think we addressed that, but is there anything else you want to add?
I think we'll see people return to bikes, like born again bikers. But I think the cost effectiveness of like some of the Indian stuff and Chinese stuff, we've seen it with Royal Enfield a lot. A lot of people just get back on bikes because they've been more affordable. So I think that sort of group again that's gone, had a bike and then kids are married or whatever, or divorce or whatever, I think there's more of an inclination to get back onto bikes because of what's available and affordable. All the other stuff that we mentioned, Grubby, about, e-bikes coming in or a raft of new manufacturers. I kind of see that changing, but it is an aging demographic. We've got to figure out how to get more people onto bikes. I think the more options to how to keep people to stay on bikes with better, more choice in the small capacities, or things like, electronic clutches and that to help. We've got bikes with, you can lower the suspension now, of course, just the accessibility thing. So I think as people, we get older now, so manufacturers are making allowances to make it easy to ride. So I think it's just that big thing of how we get more people on them. Yeah,
you got to make them attractive to youngsters again. Not only attractive in terms of cost and practicalities, but like what I was saying before, what bikes allow you to do? Just the fun. Even if it's just commuting into town to go to work, it's fun when you do it on a bike. It's a giggle.
The practicalities is not the sell though. Like, so I've got loads of small capacity bikes. I've said to my son, hey, take this 125 scooter next, because it's got loads of storage in there. It's like, but it's a scooter. I don't want a scooter. You've got one that looks like a bike. I'm like, yeah. It's like, I want that. Yeah. I want a proper bike. I'm like,
yeah, you forget that, don't you?
You forget that. You go, okay, yeah, that's what you want. So I guess it comes down to what is inspiring them to go, bikes, I want to get on a bike. And I don't know, because you think about, I look at what my teenage kids, they look at what they're seeing on TikTok and that, and what's inspiring them. It's no one's on bikes. The only people posting stuff on bikes are doing it in a very antisocial way. amazingly
Yeah,
smooth riding, but I don't think they're on bikes that belong to them, and what they're doing endanger other people as well as themselves. So I know that my kids aren't going, hey, I want that to be me.
Yeah, I want to be that. Yeah,
12 o'clock wheelie with an arm swag going through the traffic and skill.
but then remember what we were looking at, like fucking hell, what was he called again? Jesus Christ, the guy all in black that
Ghost
just
Rider.
used to Ghost Rider. Remember, like watching Ghost Rider and stuff.
Yeah.
I used to think fucking idiot, but I also, as part of me, is going, "Not me, that's cool."
Yeah, it's not going to be me, but wow, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean about what you do and what you film and post.
Yeah.
But then again, done it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mate, have you got time? There's a couple more questions across on like Instagram and Facebook. We can batter through these. I think a lot of them are your former colleagues, trying to bring some dirt and add some stories. Car design. So it's Carly, car design concepts. I would like to know, what was your most memorable photo shoot with Performing Burks magazine?
Yeah, and by Performing Burks, he means performance bikes. And I know what he's talking about here. I was just running the road test, but sporty nakeds, sporty but naked, right? So there was some sort of Benny Hill inspired thing. The idea, the naked bikes that were sporty. For some reason, we hired 10 glamour girls to just wear bicycle helmets and very small shorts.
What would be the reasoning behind that, Luke? Why is that?
Honestly, it wasn't my idea. Happily, I took part in the shoot.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. We literally had a minibus arrive with 10 glamour models who,
awesome,
in a freezing cold Bruntingthorpe, ran behind us and posed on bikes, and I did stoppies for them, and it was absolutely random. And that was the opener for the road test. Was a load of topless women running behind the bikes. The bikes in question.
This is what we need, Luke. We need this back in the biking industry.
Do we?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be women. We can have male. We can have male topless models as well. We can encompass everything.
That's true. Do you know what? So more nudity. I've got a nudity in bike story if you want to hear it. But let me just finish this. So
man.
The bikes were the S4R Ducati Monster, which was epic. Cagiva X Raptor, or was it V Raptor? But yeah, around the S3000 engine, and I think it was the Aprilia 210 Racing. So really good bikes. But yeah, it was memorable. We had a pretty good night out on the road test as well, actually, and randomly bumped into one of the models. She was the first person I'd ever met who'd had a boob job. So I was like, being a journalist, I was asking a lot of questions about it.
Investigating.
Yeah, so that was good. But another naked story though. For a bike magazine, a colleague of mine, we did a feature about, does what you wear dictate how you ride, right? So when you put the full leathers on and that, you're like, I'm ready to do battle, and you kind of against the jeans and jacket and textiles. But we got to a point where we rode in our pants, and for the photos, I rode in town. Yeah, I was just riding in my pants. But legally, you can do that, pants and socks. And so it was funny in town, trying to get the pictures, revving the hell out of it. And I don't know, I'm probably in better shape now than I was then. But then when we're out in the countryside, riding in pants, and I'm confident in my riding ability, what I can do. I'm pretty good, I'd say. But I was hooning on this 954 blade in my pants in the countryside, and then it hit me. I'm thinking, I know what I'm doing, but if a rabbit runs in front of me now, I'm a big mess. And then that was it. I was like, I get what this feature's all about now. I'll stop being a 21-year-old idiot. Yeah, in my pants.
That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, I'm a bit, what's the word? I go against the grain with this in that I genuinely don't think we should be told what you must wear. I understand why we wear helmets and why we wear protective clothing, but I don't understand why it's a lawful requirement to wear gloves and a helmet, because the only people you're affecting is you. I get seatbelts because if you come flying out out the car not wearing your seatbelt, you could hit somebody. I get that. I know that's not the prime reason, but it's one of the reasons seatbelts are there to stop you impacting on others like that. On a bike, whether you're wearing your helmet or not, you're coming off that bike. So why is it a lawful thing that you have to wear the helmet? Because it's only you're affecting.
I guess I know what you're saying. I suppose, I guess, especially the part of that is,
I won't ride without a helmet. Don't get me wrong.
no, it's weird to ride with. You do, even when you're on a field ride bike without a helmet. It feels weird because I grew up when the helmet law was in. I know what you're saying, that freedom of choice, and I know with seatbelts that drivers or passengers in the front were getting killed from people in the back impacting them, but. Yeah, the only legal requirement we have to do is to wear a crash helmet. And I don't know, because I wasn't around then, but I suppose, I don't know, that choice, I suppose it's
common sense. I get that.
I suppose any accident is horrific in any way. I don't know. I lost a friend and in an accident. He was wearing a helmet from head injuries. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I suppose that whole choice, where does it stop and start? Because I wasn't around when that law came in. But, Christ, helmet for me, I don't let anyone wear my helmets. I don't, I've been fortunate. I've been, given a lot of really good helmets. But when I buy my own, I buy really good ones, and I'm really funny about them. I suppose the most personal bit of riding position about equipment. Yeah, I don't like anyone wearing mine.
I've had a couple of accidents where if I wasn't wearing a lid, I definitely wouldn't be here for sure. I know that for a fact. But it's just I've always been confused about why that's a legal requirement. What is the reason behind it? I've never really got it. Why wouldn't you say, right, you must wear protective everything?
Yeah.
I don't want them to say that. Don't get me wrong. Fine, I'll wear the helmet. It's no problem.
If you had to choose between a jacket or gloves, which one would you choose?
No, probably gloves are more important. Actually, no, gloves probably are gloves more important.
I would say so.
I would say the jacket because, I know you're going to put your hands down first, and you use your hands for everything, don't you?
Yeah.
But I'm a big fat lump, and eventually I'm going to be sliding along on my back or on my shoulders or something.
But then you've got a load of protection on you then.
Yeah, I'll slide a wee bit further than you will, before I'm down to my bones.
I cannot understand. I see people all the time wearing all the kit but no gloves. I want to give them my gloves. I can't. Yeah. The first thing you do, you tell yourself to not just fall over and put your hands out. Well,
I've dealt with people like that. I've dealt with people in accidents, and they're wearing trainers, and they deglove their feet or their hands and flip up lids. Oh, God,
I've made the battle I have with my oldest. I've given him all really good kit, and he keeps losing gloves. He cannot. He's just always losing them. I'm like, dude, and and when the next one, I'm going to give basically, you get the Nox suits of armor.
Yeah,
I'm just getting them those because then they can wear any jacket or a hoodie over the top. But I'm just going to right, you've got that and a good helmet. But it's just.
The kit coming out now is fantastic. I've got the Adventure Spec Super Shirt. Well, I went to Morocco a couple of years ago, but in July, so I think it got to 49 degrees at one stage down near the Sahara. It was ridiculous, and we were on big GSs as well, doing proper off-roading. Some of it, even the guys I was with who were off-roaders were like, "This is fucking off-road," over rocks and all sorts on GSs. I'm out my depth just going on a bit of mud. So it was just like, what's going on here? But I had that Adventure Spec shirt, and it's brilliant. When we do, say, our tours in the Pyrenees and places in July, August sort of time, that super shirt, and you can just chuck a t-shirt over the top. It's brilliant. No, and then the likes of, Nox are bringing out amazing kit now. Roadskin, they've brought out their jeans and their jackets. Brilliant. I've got one of their jackets at the moment. It's awesome. It's got all the armor in it,
isn't it? With the standards, and again, when I started riding, it was Dr. Martens denim and a leather jacket, but like, you know, riding jeans now, they're comfortable and they're I've flown halfway across the country. I've rode to airports a lot and then just got on the plane in riding jeans. You know, I've done it many times.
Yeah, when you get patted down, they're like, "What's that?" You're like, "Oh, they're bike jeans." I'm like, "What?" Right, last one on Facebook is Shroom42. I'll always remember the ride to Bruntingthorpe.
Yeah. Basically, I've ridden for a few videos where they've on YouTube, Carvey bike stuff. They've got millions of hits, and I think this is one of the earlier ones I did. But yeah, I bought an Aprilia RSV factory, one of the V4s, to race against a Lamborghini around Bruntingthorpe, and Shroom. He was, I think, between jobs or working for himself. Then I was like, "What are you doing on this day?" I don't know, race a Lamborghini. Come to Bruntingthorpe. You've been to Bruntingthorpe? No, I was like, okay. It was a spirited ride there. So it's not, I guess he's remembered the ride there more than opposed to what was being done on the Lamborghini stunt riding against that. But yeah, you know, younger.
We've all had those rides, haven't we? You know, like the rides when you either get home or you get to the calf or the pub, whatever it is that you're going. And you sort of just sat there, like, I remember me and my mates, you'd get somewhere and the pair of you'd end up being like Beavis and Butthead. You'd just be sat in the corner, like, not talking, but just going, and like looking, like, where's the helicopter? Where's the old Bill? Are they coming?
Yeah.
But they were fucking amazing at the time.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, but amazing.
Oh, ridiculous. I think a lot of people would be lying to themselves if they said they had.
Yeah, of course.
It's part of the juvenile appeal of motorbikes. But yes, I think that's what Shroom is commenting on there.
Brilliant. Right, there's loads on Facebook that are all just, "You're awesome, looking forward to it," all that sort of stuff. Jamie Smith says, tell us about your professional moped racing career.
Okay. So that has become an obsession with a group of us. That some of them do the tour on the small capacity bikes, but one of the guys has basically done what a lot of us dreamed about. He bought a house with a big plot of land and built his own track on there, and which is for road going sub 125 bikes. So you can't have an off road like a trail bike 125. It's got to have been to qualify a kind of road oriented. So they won't even let my van 125 because it's deemed as being an off road bike. Bastards. So yeah, twice a year. And him and his wife do an amazing job, and they put on a race. It's invitation only. You know, it's not like, this is not a public track. And we did invite 999 Laser YouTube channel to come and guest in one, and they captured the event perfectly. So yeah, fancy dress, and it's not just straight at racing. We do there'll be like slow bike competitions. They've built tandem bikes, bike swaps, pilling. It's just fun. It's just a bunch of guys and gals who just don't want to grow up, and it's the racing series. And some of the people who take part in this are very talented engineers or just brilliant with spanners, and what they've built is just insane. It is like, so Jamie, who put that question, he'd got an SH125 Honda, and then it progressed. Basically, he then put that engine into a KTM RC125 chassis, and this thing was like the fastest bike on the field. It was just easy to ride. And we went to another race series and did an endurance race on that bike. And we cleaned up. It was just embarrassing. We even had like 2 punctures and had to fix them. We still won by a million miles. So it's amazing, and it's so much fun. It is, the racing's hard. Everyone wants to win the trophies and the cheap beer, but it is so much fun. So yeah, that's taken over quite a bit. 2 races a year. So it's a lot of fun. And I've got a Honda Wave that I do it on, and it's every year I think I'm going to, I need a grown up to make the changes to it that I need to. And I always forget. So I just kind of kick it and it starts.
And off you go.
And away we go.
Have you seen the lawnmower racing?
Yeah, we share that sort of in the group.
I just see that and I just think that looks such a giggle. Looks so much fun.
Yeah.
My brother's like a bit like your mate. They've got a mate a bit like your mate. He's up in Scotland, middle of nowhere, and this guy's got a great big field. So same thing. They were just in the pub pissed, basically, I think, watching the rugby, and came up with the idea, right, let's start our lawnmower GP. So they have every year the lawnmower GP, and they do exactly what you said. It's all ride-on lawnmowers. I think there's a budget as to how much the maximum it can be. Yeah, and they just go, and it's something stupid like a 4-hour or 8-hour endurance race.
You know what?
It's
and if Red Bull televised that, people would watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Right, mate, that's us. We've done all the questions. It's almost 3 hours.
Wowza. Okay. Well, not quite the Chris Moss record, but
Jeez, thankfully. God.
You know what? I have really enjoyed this, and I hope.
Me too, mate.
I do appreciate you asking me, and it's hopefully it's entertained somebody. I've enjoyed the chance to talk about it. Just kind of summarize for me. I'm well aware how fortunate I am to work in the industry, and I have plenty of people that would love to do it. I've took opportunities, and that's what I'd say to people. I've put myself in positions, not lucky, but I've put myself in positions, and I've worked hard, and I think there's something to be said for just doing something you enjoy. There's always compromises with anything that you do career-wise, but certainly, working in your passion. That's what I say to my kids. If you can work in something that you're really passionate about, you'll always push yourself harder. So whether it's motorbikes or cooking or gaming or whatever, just follow your passions and do a good job and learn, and just, don't know. It's the people, though. It's still the people that do it for me. It really is. And I've got a load of events I'll do this year, and I know that every one of those I'll make a new Facebook or Instagram content, and then you'll find out what they're doing if they're racing mopeds or what they're building, and then it goes on. Awesome.
It's been a pleasure to chat to you, mate, and find out a little bit more about you. Before we go, is there anything you want to promote? Any shout outs you want to give? The platform's yours.
What do I want to promote? I want to promote Mental Health Motorbike. I helped them out ages ago, but I think I'm definitely more for people talking. I'm very open about things. I'm an open guy. I know it's not the easiest for a lot of people, but it's tough. It is tough out there, and it's okay to ask for help, to need help. I was prescribed antidepressants years ago and never took them because I'll get through this. And I'm a real positive person. I'm a very fortunate person with the people around me and what I do. So, I think, platforms like that, use them, don't be afraid, and talk. And it's never been easier, less, sort of frowned upon. So that's what I'd big up. I promote plenty of things with what I do for work, but I'm not here to do that. So,
yeah, I think you're 100% right there in that it's never been more evident that everyone, I don't think there's a person out there who doesn't struggle or who won't struggle at some point in life. It's just something that is going to come to all of us. You're going to have those times when you're struggling. I've had them of late as well, not to the extent where I've had to go and see somebody, but I've definitely felt it. Yeah. And it's not, the stigma's not, I certainly don't feel a stigma there anymore. Like, everyone's talking about it now, and getting out there. And for me, it's just talking to people is the best help I've had. I've not needed any outside help, but I'm totally aware that people do, and I might do in the future. Who knows? But the options are there for people for sure. Don't feel like you're something out of the ordinary, folks. No, if you're struggling, if you need to go and talk to somebody, talk to somebody. If you want to drop me a line, but I'm no doctor. You know what I mean?
No, same here, but I'm a very open person. I'm always keen to talk. Yeah. So that's what I'll use that open platform for. Thank you.
Lovely job. Cool. Nice one. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for giving up your Friday evening and chatting with me.
Thanks for the invitation. I've loved it.
Yeah, pleasure. And I look forward to chatting to you about the possible future project.
Yeah, let's do it.
Folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, please tell everyone you know about it. Share it with your mates. Liking, sharing, commenting, all that usual gubbins. It is a massive help these days. Just sharing is a huge, huge boost. The algorithm loves that. So if you could do that, I'd much appreciate it. Right, hope you've enjoyed it. Look after yourselves. Get on out there. Do your thing. Look after those that you love, but live your life. Hoo-ha!